ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTYcast. And this guest right here, man, I was very, very excited to talk to this gentleman. Ladies and gentlemen, can you help me welcome MMA Guru? Now, MMA Guru, okay, the first time I ever got exposed to you was I was playing, video games, and someone's like, oh man, you got to go check out this guy named MMA Guru, man. He's a guru of mixed martial arts. And I was like, who the f is this MMA Guru? I never heard of this guy. He's a guru of mixed martial arts. I go to your YouTube channel, and I see you with a beautiful community. You're sitting there, you're talking to the fans. You also do live play-by-play of the fights. And I'm not gonna lie, I was actually entertained. And I remember jumping in your chat saying, hey, what's up, man? Big fan of yours. I've been watching some of your content. Then you jumped in my chat and you're like, hey, let's do, a collab. You don't play much video games. And I think this is the perfect time to get together and, do some content. So, brother, how you doing and how you doing?
I'm doing good. It was a great intro you just given me there. I really appreciate that. Yeah, you were one of the first fighters to even acknowledge my existence, I feel like, which is weird because normally I would expect, a contender series guy maybe to acknowledge me, but you straight to the goat mentions me. So that's actually on my Instagram as well, the first time you went on my stream. So thank you to whatever fan of my channel harassed you in your live chat enough to make you come over and check out the stream. It was cool.
No, I don't think he harassed me. He just, I'm always about looking for content creators that create good content and that are passionate. That's the biggest thing is that you are truly passionate about the sport of mixed martial arts. And so that's when I went there, I lurked a little bit and I lurked again. Then I lurked again. And I'm like, oh, there was one time I couldn't actually get the play-by-play by the fights. So I went to your channel and I was listening to you. And, and even your content, the one you said, the champion of the 135-pound division in the female was Raquel Pennington. And you were laughing. You were hysterically laughing. And I was like, this guy's hilarious. And so I was like, all right, subscribe. And so, no, I've always been a fan of your content. I'm just glad now we're able to link up our times. Have worked out. I mean, last week we were supposed to do it on your channel, but you took a long ass nap. You left me hanging like prom, and it's all good. But let's start before we get on live.
No. We don't jump past. We don't jump past lies on this channel.
Whoa.
It was 6 a.m. UK time, Demetrious Johnson, and I'm waiting here at my computer, and then you say, about time for bed.
Well, I did message you and you say you're taking a nap. Let me get on my motherfucking phone. You said, oh, I got to take a nap. And I was like, okay, he's going to take a nap. Let me see. Let me see. You finally sent it to me. It's 5 a.m. this side of the pond. I don't have WhatsApp to use. What I'm saying, no pressure though, bud. And then
we're going to DMs immediately. On
yes,
this.
sir.
Okay.
I'm a man of truth. No lies here. I'm gonna power nap and be back in a few hours. I saw that I wanted you to message me there. I'll text you when I'm free today. Enjoy the nap. This is 8 o'clock my time. That's it. I'm getting Bradley Martin. I don't have WhatsApp. So let's just call this a wipe. Okay, we're here now. We're ready to chat. The reason I wanted you to do WhatsApp is because I don't really get notifications on my Instagram. But WhatsApp, it's like a text message, right? So you should download it. It's super easy. And if you have Wi-Fi, it's free. So download WhatsApp.
Okay, sure.
We'll exchange numbers.
Use WhatsApp.
Okay.
I'll give you my number, Demetrious Johnson.
Oh, yes,
okay.
Yes. I got very good.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. All right. What got you into covering this sport? Right? Like you have a huge following in the MMA community. You're living rent-free in a lot of athletes' minds. What got you in this space of mixed martial arts?
I was interested in martial arts. I did it as a kid. And then I was like, I don't really want to pursue a career in this because it's horrible to pursue a career in this. And then, I just ended up thinking, what other way can I make money out of mixed martial arts? And it was covering the sport, I guess, was the next best move. I didn't really have great dreams of being a world champion or anything, but there was a moment where I was emotional and that's it. I'm going to fucking go on a run and get to the UFC. And it lasted about 6 months and then I stopped doing it.
You're probably making more money than half the athletes on the damn roster, to be honest with you. So good for you because you could do this till the day you die. Right? I mean, there's always...
Or until the day I'm irrelevant, I guess.
Well...
It'll be about 2 years, and maybe, who knows? We'll be good.
No. You got a strong community, man, and your community is always going to keep on growing, right? Like when I went to your live stream, you had like I think 1,500 to 2,000 people in there asking you questions about the upcoming fights. What's your opinion? What's your analysis and predictions on stuff? You have no background. There's people who actually have mixed martial arts careers who don't have a following like you do. So you're building it the correct way. You're building it from scratch, right? And so it's only going to keep on going up, right? And next thing you know, we might see you on like the zone fighting on one of Jake Paul's cards and influencer boxing, fighting somebody. So I think you can do this a lot longer than a professional athlete can.
Yeah, probably right. There's no injury to where I can't be on camera talking to a screen, you know?
Yep.
There's nothing that can really knock me out of this game, if you want to call it a game. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'll keep it going. I'll try and keep it going. It does get annoying, though. It does get annoying.
Why does it get annoying?
Wait until 5 a.m. to see if Dana's going to announce UFC 300 every night. It's tough on the sleep schedule, I'll be honest. But, you know, I'm adjusting to it, you know. I'm accepting this as life. Did you ever get annoyed at the timing of the fan base rallying around you? The MMA fan base?
I don't get annoyed. I think it was a missed opportunity for the amazing things I've done in mixed martial arts. Like, if I would have thrown something up in the air in 2023, 2024, I mean, I did that shit in 2018, and it's still one of the best submissions ever done. If I would have done it in 2023, 2024, I mean, you did the math, MMA guru.
I know. It would have been insane. But I was talking about the timing of the MMA fan, because it was almost like once you had got your contract with ONE FC and gone, that's when everyone was like, yeah, we've been here from the start, DJ. You know? People like almost purposefully waited until it was too late to rally behind you, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people rally behind people who have been wronged. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I get it.
Like, people are like, because I was always there, right? I mean, I mean, it's not like my brand or my product has changed. You know what I mean? I can understand, like, if I sucked, you know, through my whole entire mixed martial arts career, and like, you know, I'm not finishing people, I'm not doing amazing things inside the octagon. But I've always gone out there and performed, right? Because I always believe in my brand. I always believe in my skill set. But now that, you know, when I went to ONE FC and everybody in the world was like, how could you trade, you know, Demetrious Johnson, a workhorse, for Ben Askren? And then I go over there and I'm still putting in work. I'm actually winning fights. I'm doing highlight reels. And then you have Ben Askren. He gets banned to the Shadow Realm by Jorge Masvidal. They're like,
and then he gets Jake Paul.
He gets Jake Paul. Everybody's like, what the hell were they thinking? You know, but it is what it is. I'm happy that fans, you know, my star kind of rise as I left one of the biggest promotions in the world. Yeah.
And of course, the documentaries made about the man the UFC erased. That helped your stock quite a bit. I saw they went viral. But yeah, the Ben Askren trade is always seen as one of the biggest fumbles of all time. You know, that ONE FC got you, the UFC got Ben Askren, but it's not Ben Askren that the UFC got.
Exactly.
It's Ben Askren getting KO'd.
Yes.
Is what the UFC got. That's what spawned everything. Then you get Masvidal, then Diaz, then Edwards' name is built, and then Usman gets to defend against Masvidal. It's like there was a chain reaction of people getting their ass beat until it was worth something to the UFC, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you go back and listen to Dana White's, you know, interviews about me, is that I don't generate enough pay-per-views. The flyweight division isn't exciting. With that trade, you know, like you said, they were able to get Ben Askren and basically getting this lamb that chirps on Twitter. And with the lamb and the slaughtering of the lamb brought way more eyeballs than I probably could ever have, right? You get the resurrection of Jorge, Usman, you know, I mean, just the list just goes on. I'm sure they got the return on investment, but as a return of investment as quality of a fighter between me and Ben Askren, no, there is no way they could have actually, you know, got the return on investment on that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. If Askren would have succeeded, unless he would have somehow got the Khabib fight that he was pushing for, then maybe there would have been a payoff. But at the end of the day, they've now got Pantoja as champion, so I don't think they won in the end, in a way. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think they did. Like I said, I think even with the eyeballs that Ben Askren has been able to bring, and even with, you know, the resurgence of these guys, I mean, they're about to fight for another BMF belt, and that kind of came from the Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. Now it's like a premier belt. You know what I mean? So only the baddest of the baddest. You have to be hand selected to fight for that belt instead of the UFC or any belt, one championship, PFL, whatever it may be. You have to just win, you know, 4 fights, be popular, and, you know, talk shit, and you get a title shot. So it's a little bit different. So I think they, you know, at the end of the day, I think both companies won. You know, one championship got me, one of the best fighters in the world, and they got Ben Askren. So I think it was a W for both guys.
True. When DJ told me, hey, I want to have MMA Guru on, there was one thing that I really wanted to ask about, because you see it a lot in the comments. So before you went to South Africa and we saw you in person, a lot of people, all the comments say, is MMA Guru in a wheelchair? Like, what is it? What does he look like? And then we see you next to DDP, who is now the current UFC middleweight champion. And you're coming from someone who I'm about 5'4", DJ's 5'3", whatever he is, 5'2". You are tall. You are a tall, big dude, and it's like, this is bullshit. What the hell? and you're jacked too. So what was that experience like? People seeing you kind of outside of your MMA Guru cave for the first time.
Let's not get too crazy with the jacked.
Oh yeah. Come on, you're ripped a little bit.
I think there was like a payoff for my shit talk online where everyone sort of just said, he's a fat little spherical human, you know? That was sort of their payoff. Like, well, at least he's some fat wheelchair-bound loser guy. But the wheelchair thing, that was what a weird thing to have to discuss.
Go on.
The wheelchair thing was like a fan-based defense system.
Okay.
The internet is a very strange place, Demetrious Johnson. It was I never said I was in a wheelchair once.
Probably because you never get up. Like when you're doing your streams, you never get up. So like, oh, this motherfucker might be wheelchair bound. So go on, continue.
Yeah. But then I was like, these motherfuckers ain't gonna tell me to stand up for $2. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna start that exchange for labor. You know. But no, the wheelchair thing was like a defense system by my fan base, because anytime anyone would sort of go after me, they would immediately say, "Oh, you can't do that. He's in a wheelchair." and then whoever went after me would immediately be like, "Oh shit, sorry, I didn't even realize." You know?
Yeah.
Because the main thing that fighters say is, "You could never be a UFC fighter. Why are you talking about the sport?" That's the main insult I used to get. You could never be a fighter. You could never be a fighter. And when you compare, or when you pair someone telling you can never be a fighter with, "Oh, don't do that, he's in a wheelchair," immediately they feel regret. But I've never said I was in a wheelchair, always stated that I could stand. And the DDP revelation was a big one, I guess.
I absolutely love that.
Jesus Christ. That is not representative of how I look next to DDP, though.
Yeah. No.
I don't know what the camera angle was doing. I'm literally about 2-3 inches taller than him. I'm not that much bigger.
It's funny that your community, which you have built, like we're talking about at the very beginning of the show, you have built this community that they're looking out for you. And you see this picture, you're taller than DDP. You're actually, it looks like you're bigger than DDP. So good on you for not being bound to a wheelchair and have a community to get your back. And yeah, like, how tall are you? Like 6'7"?
No, I'm like I'd say I'm a tall 6'3". I think
you're 6'3"?
Yeah. Jeez. I'm not that tall.
6'3" and the gorgeous hair you have. Like, that's like, fuck, good for you, man. You got a beard to go with it, Michael.
Working on the tan.
Yeah, you got a long way to go there, my friend. But hey,
yeah, I know.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
My body repels it. Repels sun badly. It's the ginger in me, you know.
Hey, you're a day walker, so that's a good thing.
That's true. That's true.
All right, the MMA Guru. Where did you come up with this character? Right, because a lot of stuff that gets you, people love your honesty, but I feel like you're in character. When I was talking to the producer, he goes, I want him in character when we're having this conversation. Where did you get this character from? Like, where did you manifest it from?
I'm not in a character. I think I'm just a bit weird. I don't know. I amp it up a bit. Don't get me wrong. I do amp it up a bit now and then. Like, I'm not really screaming and laughing fanatically at Raquel Pennington being champion. I know you mentioned you saw that before. But I don't know. I just love MMA, man. I just really enjoy it. It's all I have, to be honest with you.
Do you have
sad?
That's not,
but there you go.
It's not sad. Hey, it keeps you happy, and you've been able to monetize it, right? And you've been able to make a name for yourself, which I think is going to keep on getting bigger and bigger. So I don't think it's sad at all. I think it's great. I think your passion for the sport is something that this sport needs, as there's so many fecal fans out there that they'll change coat, and a drop of a dime, where you're always going to be passionate about the sport itself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I like the sport. I don't know. It's just, I'm really into it, really into the sport. Like, I pay attention to everything that goes on. Like, I didn't think I'd ever be at the point where I'm looking at regional companies to be like, who's going to be next? Like, there's always something I want next from the sport. Since I have been doing it, I guess, for a living now, my love of it has dipped a little bit than when I was just a pure fan. But that's bound to happen,
Yeah. So, okay, so let's get into you covering it. So what, out of name two, let's do top three. Who are your top three favorite careers you have covered that you're blown away by them? If, you're just like, oh, this guy's absolutely amazing. Like, this is the chosen one.
Okay, the chosen one.
I don't know. What would you call it? I don't know.
I don't know. No one's the chosen one in MMA, it feels like, man. Every time there's a chosen one, they get fucking brutally finished. It's such a sad sport. That's just how that's what you have to come to terms with as an MMA fan.
Yeah.
Likeability is the worst base for MMA, I feel like. What careers have I really enjoyed?
Like, to cover on your channel, like when you're covering it, like it gets you excited, right? Obviously, you love, like, for me, I love covering Charles Oliveira. Like, I just truly enjoy it. Like, he always comes, he brings it. I'm excited for Conor when he comes back. We just had Dustin. I'm a big fan of him. I mean, I have my favorites that I like to cover. For you, you have to have favorites. Like Izzy, another one of mine who I love to cover. Who are your ones that get you excited to talk about mixed martial arts when you're going live on your channel?
Ian Garry, maybe for the wrong reasons.
What are those reasons? Why?
Just funny to bully him online, I guess. But that's cool. I kind of started the whole thing, and now in every comment section is just slander against Ian Garry. I do feel bad a little bit, but anyway, Vicente Luque was another one. So it's almost poetic that Ian Garry was supposed to be fighting Luque. There was like a 5-year period where I was just obsessed with Vicente Luque. It was unhealthy obsession. Very unhealthy.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'd be like, this guy's incapable of boring. Oh, the producer's back.
Yeah, no. I was going to say, true or false that Ian Garry actually is suing you, or is that a made up story? Because no, because it's funny because I'm the producer, but someone else who helps us out, I'm shouting Nick Pappas. He texted me and he's like, make sure to ask about Ian Garry because that situation's hilarious. So is it true or false that there have been some legal papers sent your way via Ian Garry, or no?
I don't know how official they are, but there's definitely been some legal conversation that's been had. But again, I said this on another podcast before. I think if you don't answer the phone calls or read the messages, then they can't really sue you.
Could you imagine
if you don't know about it?
Could you imagine? I was like, you owe 14 years of back paid child support. What are you talking about? I never seen those papers.
Your Honor, I never seen that.
I never got a court date. I never got anything. I know I had, sexual encounter, and I know she got pregnant, but it didn't exist because I didn't acknowledge it. That's absolutely hilarious.
There might be a way around it. I don't know. Hopefully they just
disappear.
Hopefully Ian Garry and his family calm down. Let's just everyone calm down and grow up a bit, I think is what we need to start doing a little bit here. But it's all good. I'm sure it'll be all right. But yeah, the Ian Garry situation was heated. Very heated. That was a very big situation.
Well, what happened?
Someone else.
What happened? I don't know. I don't know if the viewers, I don't know the full context of the situation, but since I shed a tear laughing about it, fill us in what happened. What happened?
Okay. So Ian Garry is a fighter in the UFC. I'm sure you're aware of this.
Yes, I know who he is.
Okay. So there was this channel called, and when I acknowledge him for starting it, I'm throwing him under the bus. But if I don't acknowledge him, then I'm taking all the glory. There's a channel called, and it's such a interesting name for a channel. Red Pill MMA is the name of his channel. And he uncovered this interesting information about Ian Garry's wife-to-be.
Okay.
Let's just say. And I sort of was just like, that's interesting. Not going to make a whole video about it. But then Ian Garry insulted a fat man online with a beard. I think he said a fat wanker. To be honest with you. I think that's the quote.
Okay.
Some fat wanker with a beard after I'd made a video on this. But I hadn't gone full force yet. I just made a video being like, dude, this guy's wife's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Basically is what I said. And then after he said some fat wanker with a beard online, all of the MMA media went, Ian Garry's called out the MMA guru.
Okay.
He never said my name, never said my channel name. He just said fat wanker with a beard. And the media was just like, how's the MMA guru going to feel about this call out?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, if they want to direct it at me, I'm going to take full advantage. And I just dropped the fact that she made a book about scoping out young athletes to settle down with. And now that's a bit of a interesting conversation, I'm sure, in their household over breakfast.
That fat waker. Oh, I love it. So you weren't really directed into that conversation. He just went out there. I mean, a fat wanker could be millions of people on YouTube.
Be anyone.
Right? So pretty much the MMA media kind of targeted you to fit that description.
Yeah, I reckon it was me.
Yeah, well, you took advantage of it, so that's good. So
I know, yeah.
I think what you're probably being sued for is defamation. Yeah, that's probably what they're going to get you for. But like you said,
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm just going on the facts of like, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. They are suing each other for defamation. Of tarnishing someone's character. Well, like
I'm fine. There's no legal stuff. I'm good. I don't know. Defamation's pretty hard to prove,
Oh, I agree. Well, especially if
Historically.
somebody wrote a book, right? You're just stating the facts that were laid out by that person who put it out into the world, essentially. So you're good. I think you're gonna get away clean. Wipe your hands clean, like you said.
I think I'm in the clear now. Anyway, I think I'm all right.
Okay, good.
Let them focus on Jeff Neal and forget about some stuff.
Yeah. So you had Ian Garry, Vincent Luque, and who else?
Oh, another fighter that I like to follow the career of. You're good at keeping things on track, DJ. This is a good interview.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who's reluctantly I have to accept that Sean O'Malley's so good to watch fight. So cool to watch fight.
What do you love about watching him fight?
Oh God, front kicks. Come on, dude. Front kicks are so underrated. I love watching someone teep someone in the body.
So
very underrated. No.
So then you like
O'Malley's sick to watch.
Go on. Do you like Muay Thai or like? I feel like what makes Sean O'Malley so much different. I just broke down one of his videos that his movement on his feet is so good. How he goes from orthodox to southpaw. He throws feints from both sides, and also when he gets pressured, he goes lateral, and then he also does feints when he's lateral. So a person never really knows when he's going to go. And then the feint where he goes, he's looking at you, and he looks backwards and comes back at you.
The little twist.
The little twist. It's very dynamic of him. And I was like, wow, like, as I've come into this role of analyzing or breaking down fights, I study way more than I did when I was, in the prime physically in my career, like when I was in my title run. But his footwork and his movement is so damn high level, like S tier, where I didn't even care about his teeps. You know what I mean? The teeps are to force people to come across a distance, and then he catches them, right? So,
I mean, I was being jokey with the teep thing, but yeah, just in general, his striking game is so cool, and also his feint game is so good because he actually throws the things that he's feinting at people.
Yeah, Yep.
He wouldn't be able to pull off the little head twitch that he does if people didn't know this guy's got a mean spinning back kick to the body.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So that just opens up his game so much more because a lot of strikers, like Adesanya has his feints, but they're mainly like a little hip thrust.
Yep.
You know what I mean? A little twist of the hip to show maybe a leg kick might be coming, maybe some stuff with the hands. But throw many wheel kicks, spinning back kicks, and I mean, there's less for people to believe in his feint game.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Izzy pulls the trigger, but he doesn't pull the trigger like Sean O'Malley does, right? Like,
but that's being a middleweight as well is a part of that, right?
Say that one more time.
That's being a middleweight as well, right? That's definitely a part of that. Just a difference in size and
and I also think skill set. I think Sugar Sean O'Malley can actually wrestle. I'll go on a limb and say, even though Sugar Sean O'Malley hasn't wrestled like growing up, like he said in the podcast, I would go on a limb and saying he can probably wrestle better than Izzy. That's just if I have to pick the two, right? So I think you see Sugar Sean O'Malley come forward more when he fights, to where Izzy loves to force people to come across the distance, and he ends up countering. Izzy loves to go lateral and then resituate himself and then begin to pick his opponent apart, force him to come across this. Where Sugar Sean O'Malley, he will come forward a lot more. You look at the Peter Yan fight. You look at his previous fights. He has come forward more and engaged in that dogfight essentially.
He can hold the center of the octagon a lot better than other people that play on the outside,
Exactly.
Just because he's got that power as well.
Yeah.
You have to speak about O'Malley's power.
Yes.
There's actually something for people to fear. It's not like, oh no, I'm going to be low kicked at range for 5 rounds. Like, this guy can highlight reel you very quickly, as Aljo, I guess, found out. So he can hold the center a lot better. And that was sort of Izzy's problem against Strickland, right? Is he couldn't hold the center as well as a DDP, who may not be as cool looking of a striker as Israel Adesanya is, but he can hold the center and stop Strickland snowballing his way through the fight.
Exactly. And that's one of the things we saw, is that DDP doesn't back up, right? He's not the most explosive, pop, 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 and doing so many different combinations, but the way he approaches his fights, holding the center of the cage, being very plotty, heavy, and I knew that was going to give Sean Strickland problems, because Sean needs to come forward. I mean, you look at the Sneeko fight when he's beating up Sneeko, right?
Yeah, let's use the Sneeko fight as analysis here. Yeah, true.
Sneeko started.
Sneeko was moving laterally.
He moved laterally, and then Sean Strickland was able to go forward, put Sneeko against the cage, and just batter that man, right? But if Sneeko would have kept his feet forward, Sean Strickland would have had problems all damn day. Mark my words, MMA Guru. You might be a guru, but you talking to the 15-time world champion, okay?
Yeah, and the 15-time world champion says if Sneeko had held his ground, he would have beaten Sean Strickland and done better against him. On quote.
Oh, I fucking love this game. Oh, God. Okay.
God, it's such a silly world. So many side quests of, Strickland beating up Sneeko today.
Fucking side quest.
It is a side quest. Like, what are we doing here? I'm wondering who's next for Strickland, and the headlines are, I wonder if Bryce Hall in the desert could be next. Like, it's a really weird world that we're in, but it's great to cover.
Well, when you say side quest, I love you use that reference, because as you know, I'm a big gamer. You say side quest, which it does make sense. There is no reference for him beating up Sneeko, or him fighting Bryce Hall in the middle of the desert, or even, fighting Jake Paul in Puerto Rico. But sometimes when you're playing a game, you kind of veer off track. You're like, okay, well, the end game goal is to get back to beat the game in mixed martial arts, to become world champion and get as many consecutive title defenses as possible. But if you veer off, like in a game, you go off on your side quest, you're never going to finish the game. You're just going to do side quests. You do it, you get an achievement, and that's it. I don't think he's going to get any achievements from beating Sneeko up, or Bryce Hall, or Jake Paul. Just, self-recognition, and he feels good about himself. But I love how you use that reference of side quests. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. Well, you obviously, as a gamer, you'd know about it. But Strickland's doing the equivalent of joining the Thieves Guild. If you know what I'm saying.
No, go on.
That's all I know about gaming.
No, go on. Tell me about the Thieves Guild.
No, don't make me. I'm just trying to make a baby reference as a gamer. I used to play Skyrim quite a bit when I was a kid.
Okay.
That's all. Okay. What games are you playing now?
Playing Escape from Tarkov and Street Fighter 6 right now.
Okay. A classic and a new game. New gun game, right? Tarkov.
Yeah, now when I play games, if I'm not being challenged mentally and my IQ being tested on the distance and whatever move I make, if I make the wrong move, I'm severely punished, then I don't get, it's not enjoyable to me. And so those are only 2 games right now on the market that, if I fuck up, Like I tried to play Street Fighter one day, intoxicated, and I just got hammered. And I sent it to my coach. He goes, "Don't ever do that again. You're just gonna destroy your MR, which is your ranking at master level." So those are 2 games I play.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, esports kind of had a cool guy moment, you know, when people first started learning about it. There were the gamers. It sort of died down a little bit now. I don't know. I feel like gaming's kind of died down a little bit. In general, right?
1000%. It comes in waves and ebbs and flow, right? I mean, even in mixed martial arts, there's a point in time when, you know, Michael, the producer, he was kind of, I was worried about him. He goes, "This is such bullshit. There's something to cover. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, man, what we're going to do?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it, dog. We got street beef. We got, you know, 3v1s. We got the influencer fighting." Like, do you just cover, like, professional, or do you do all types of form of fighting?
I try and keep it, like, I could have made a video on Sneeko getting beaten up by Strickland. Like, I could have gone off in that tangent, but I don't know. I try and keep it somewhat professional on the channel, which is crazy for me to say because I've got videos like hottest women's MMA fighter tier lists and shit like this. So I say I keep it professional, but I keep it very MMA related. I wouldn't do a street beefs video.
Why not?
But
that stuff's amazing.
It is amazing. I've actually watched your breakdowns of street beefs.
What do you think of them? You think they're good?
Oh, the characters on street beefs are insane. They should make documentaries about some of these street beefs people. I love my favorite thing about street beefs is the energy they have before the fight begins. Like they're literally superheroes about to go to obliterate their opponent, and then the fight begins and the energy immediately shifts to, oh no.
I think you're probably referencing Death Sentence when he was like, "I'm about to end this fight in 5 seconds." Yeah. And then he was like, yeah, and flew across the scene and tried to beat up homeboy's back.
Immediately ends up in a bad position. No, I like street beefs though. I reckon I would cover it, but those sort of things, people on my stream, they tell me to look up this and I'll give my reaction to it. So there's a lot of clipping culture in my channel for streams.
Gotcha.
Of other things that they might want me to discuss.
Gotcha.
No, and talking about clipping things, I think DJ would agree the all-time, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, the all-time viral MMA guru clip, the Bobby Green knockout.
Ref, he's dead, you fucking idiots! Ref, stop the fucking fight, ref!
Walk me through that again, because what made it so great, there's some clips that you have where it might just be like, oh, MMA guru's exaggerating a little bit, going a little bit crazier than he needs to, but you were the representation of how everyone felt in that moment, because it's like, what are you doing? Stop the fight. What was that moment like for you, and then did you expect the reaction after of how viral it went?
Well, it's like, I didn't expect the virality of it, but yeah, that definitely needed to be stopped a little bit sooner, maybe. I don't know. I've screamed at a lot of late stoppages, though, but I think that one was one where people are going to be looking up people's reaction to the stoppage, and my channel just so happened to have the reaction uploaded. But yeah, that was actually insane. That was an insane stoppage. I don't know why that was allowed to go on.
Yeah, I love Bobby Green. Bobby Green is legit, man. Each time I've been in the same room with him and shared the locker room with him, he's always been good. Chris boxer. I mean, some legit boxing. He's always had his hands down when he's warming up, and the power he's able to generate with his hands down and just that quick snap back as a snake, like a little cobra. It's always been beautiful. So when he got finished like that, I was like,
brutal.
Yeah.
And the worst part for me was I kind of knew he was going to get finished. Jalen Turner is tough. Yeah. Tough matchup for Bobby Green's hands down boxing. I'm like, dude, please put your fucking hands up against Jalen Turner. Dude. Swinging massive shots at you here, barely missing. Yeah. So that was also a part of it. Like there was a sheer sadness. And then we had to watch the ref just get, I don't know, maybe, I don't even know what the ref was getting out of that. Look at that fucking handsome inbred bastard. Good 2 from Jalen. Wobbles Bobby bad and he's out cold badly. Fucking ref, he's dead, you fucking idiot. Ref, stop the fucking fight, ref, he's fucking out cold. You Okay. You. Jesus. Okay.
I mean, that just shows the passion. that you have
for the immense passion for
the athlete's
sports,
safety, right? I mean, it's so hard because you're just saying everything that we're all are saying inside, right? Because that was a very, and here's the thing, here's the flip side to it. But as you know, as us athletes, we only get half our check if we lose.
Yeah.
And I know the ref wants to give us every single possibility to be able to get back in the fight. And sometimes refs make bad calls, whether they stop it or they keep it going. And I think that ref was on a sticky situation where he wanted Bobby Green to be able to get back in the fight and get his full check. Or he was like, you know, it's that hard call to be made, right? And so you're just basically showing your passion of the sport and the health and the safety of the fighters. That's all I saw right there.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm glad you think that. It was all about the safety of Bobby Green. No, I didn't just jump at an opportunity to insult the ref. No. No, it was about Bobby Green because it's not... the problem is I know Bobby Green, and this is the problem that a lot of fighters do, which is why it's hard to complain about late stoppages sometimes. Because I know Bobby Green was in the back saying, listen, let me die.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Certain fighters will plead with the ref, hey, you see me out of there, you let me die before you step in there. Like, it's kind of a tricky situation for the ref because he knows he's going to get an earful from these fighters if he does stop it early. But that one was, come on, that one was way too late, dude. Jalen's got the back mounted, like he's mounted on the back, flat out, hips to the, like there's no way for, even if Bobby was conscious, that is almost an inescapable position after being rocked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. No, like, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it was a awful situation, but that's one of my viral moments, I guess. I've had a few viral situations that sort of helped my channel grow a little bit, I guess.
Hey, I love it. You know what's interesting? I was at the gym and I was lifting weights. I want to get your piece on this. I didn't talk to anybody about this. So usually you have 3 judges who score the fight, right? And then sometimes the 3 judges watch a fight that we all watch, and the scorecards get read, and we're like, what fight were they watching? Like, how are you scoring this? Like the DDP versus Sean Strickland fight. Everybody was like, oh, we had Sean Strickland. No, I had DDP. Oh, the takedowns on counters, anything, da-da-da. What do you think if the ref was a judge? Where because you think about it, he's the one in there. He's seeing the shots that land. Granted, he's also trying to keep the safety of the fighters, good, but he's the one who's front and center. He's looking at the fight. You know, who knows? There could be one ref who's fucking playing Galaga at the fight's boring, right? But this guy is watching the fight the whole entire time. I was like, man, why don't they have the ref be like maybe the deciding factor? Right, like let's say it's raw. I don't know how we can spin it, but I think he should have more say so because one, the ref has actually probably fought. Herb Dean has more fighting experience than all the the judges around who are judging that we know.
Goddard's fought as well,
right? And
I know that.
He's followed sport, multiple rules. He's traveled around the world. Typically, where the Las Vegas Commission, they only judge the fights there. They're not in Japan. They're not in Thailand. They're not in, the Philippines, to where Herb Dean, he is. How do you feel about if the ref had a scorecard? He was like, guys, like, no, this guy clearly won, right? Like, how do you feel about that?
I don't mind the idea of it. It would be a little bit of a shit show.
It isn't already. It isn't already.
Yeah, I know. But still, it would add an extra amount of shit to that show. Because the judges would come to a conclusion and then, but what does the ref think? You know what I mean? Then it would be this weird thing. I get it though, but I do wish the ref would maybe relay more information to the judges. Like, hey, this guy's eye got swollen up by that jab this round. Yeah. That was round 2 that this happened.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the round. Hey, by the way, this guy's calf is destroyed right now. Maybe. That it's just when you do things like that, when you involve another person, you do leave open the bias. Like is it Dan Mergliata, one of the refs, the bald ref?
I believe so, yes.
Big, tall, bald, white guy.
Yes.
If you watch his face when finishes are happening, you can see who he wanted to win all the time.
Well, I mean, the refs can have their favorites. I'm sure I'm one of Herb Dean's favorite athletes to ref because I've always been kind to him. He comes to my locker room, he gives me his spiel, and I ask him, I say, the first thing I ask Herb Dean when he comes to my locker room, I say, how are you, Herb? How's your night going? How's the wife?
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, I'm trying to butter him up. Like, hey, how you doing, Herb?
Yeah.
You know, just
See, this is why you want him judging fights.
yes. Now you're catching on.
butter him
No,
up.
ladies and
You can
gentlemen. No,
butter him
ladies and gentlemen. Everyone's like, oh, DJ's fights were fucking fixed. No.
Yeah.
But I think it was something I was just in the gym. I was lifting it, and I was like, man, why don't the refs have a say so? I mean, they're front and center of the action. And I would love to, like, if a ref is fighting and he just comes out of the cage and goes, you know, I had him winning. I think it would be just something cool to hear, like, hey, who'd you think was winning the fight when it came, you know, the judges were so undecisive, essentially.
It's true. I mean, a ref could play a part in that. I wouldn't mind it. I think all of the things that have been brought up to fix judging, in my opinion, doesn't fix judging. I think, DJ, if you want to get real about this, if you want to get really intricate, I think that it's intentionally bad, which I'm as a character insinuating this.
You mean
just in case any?
What do you mean it's intentionally bad? Like the judging itself?
I don't think they're like, give this guy the fucking win.
Oh.
I don't think they're doing shit like that.
No.
But I think they're like, they kind of like that fighters shouldn't trust the judges, you know?
I see where you're going.
They love it.
I see where you're going with this. I think an organization has a plan of attack that they want a certain athlete to win so they can sell more reviews, they can tell a better storyline, etc. 1000%. You look at WWE, right? Like, could you imagine when Conor knocked out, you know, Jose Aldo? I was there live. When he knocked him out, it just elevated the sport to a different level. And let's say, let's flip the script. Let's say Jose Aldo knocked out Conor McGregor. It would have elevated the sport, but not to the echelon that Conor McGregor elevated. Then you ask me why? Well, because Conor McGregor is a big, beautiful character. People gravitate to that, right? So I think, you know, when these when the matchmakers put fights together, and they kind of lay out a plan of attack. It's like Sugar Sean O'Malley. It's like, we have a guy who has a huge following. He's very colorful. He does things different. He's got a great following. If we can have this guy win, it's going to produce way more, right? So
it's the Paddy Pimblett approach right now, right? That's the modern example of it.
Exactly, right? So I think, but I don't think the judges are steered in a certain way, but I do believe the executives in the back end, you know, even for my producer, he was like, oh man, God, if this guy wins, it's going to be hot, da-da-da-da. But in the day, we just want to be able to cover the best stories and the best fights. When I'm able to do that and I get behind the athletes, like the Ilia Topuria versus Alex Volkanovski, like that fight, it's absolutely beautiful, even though I'm dating this, but it's a fight that I am always going to be excited about. Those two athletes, I'm always going to be excited about when they fight because they're so well-rounded.
Such sick fights.
Yeah.
Such sick fights.
Yes.
But what we were saying about the
judging and having the refs having a say so or whatnot, and
the UFC wanting certain people to win.
Yeah.
The bad judges' decisions, when everyone's like, what happened there? they always benefit the UFC.
Yeah.
Typically they do. Maybe that's just well, they're the star. The crowd are making more noise when they throw shots compared to when the opponent. Maybe that is what the bottom line is. But I just don't think the UFC are ever going to take that move to.
No, I was checking my camera and see how much more battery I have left. Okay. You're good, baby.
All right, I thought you were coming out the screen there for a second.
You got scared, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Terrified. But the judging decisions that are bad, like who the fuck can score Gordon Pimblett to Pimblett? Oh, hang on a second, it's Pimblett. You know, it works out for the UFC. I don't know. I just feel like the judge. I mean, maybe we've been on this tangent a bit too long, but the judging is interesting. I don't know. The only way I've seen people saying they should do open scoring, but then we'd just be aware of the bad judging in the middle of the rounds rather than at the end of the fight. Like it all comes down to these guys are fucking dumb that are judging fights and they need to fix their lives up. Because every time I watch a fight, I'm always like, yeah, that guy won. There's never really been a fight where I've scored it to someone who would have been considered a robbery if they would have gotten the decision. You know, I feel like the fan base are usually in agreement, and it's almost just the judges that are saying, no, millions of people, we will decide that Pimblett has won. You know?
Yeah, gotcha. I hear.
It's kind of a weird
Yeah,
world.
it's a weird situation, right? And that was just something I was just thinking about to the gym. There, I was like, oh, what if they added the ref in there? Okay, we got a couple more minutes left. I'm gonna give you the floor. You can ask me anything you want, right? Because how this all started is that you want me to come on your channel. You took a power nap, whatnot. I'm definitely gonna come on your channel. We'll do another one on your platform. But I'm gonna give you the opportunity to ask me anything you want of my career. Anything, or we can just keep on chopping up. But I'm gonna give you the opportunity to, ask me something.
Okay, I chucked in a few of my questions throughout this interview that I had.
Okay.
I ended up deleting quite a few.
Why? Why'd you do that?
I had some really lame ones.
Okay.
I don't know. Sometimes I get too nerdy with it.
Give me some spicy. Give me spicy.
Oh God, dude! You know you beat Pantoja's ass. Come on.
Oh
Dude,
God, here we go. Okay, next question.
Okay. Hey, that O'Malley guy is fucking light work for you. No, I'm joking. Let's what? God, what question? I had questions for you as well, but I wiped them. Because I actually went on Moicano's pod and I had a bunch of questions and he turned it on me and only asked me questions the entire time. God, what would my question be for you, man?
I don't know.
You done?
No, I'm not done. I'm waiting for you. Come on. Oh, am I done?
No, I mean, yeah, you done, dude? That's the big question right now.
You know what? I had a beautiful conversation at the airport on the way to Vegas recently.
Okay.
And this gentleman was saying, like, a lot of people, he was like, what else are you trying to prove? Like, you've been doing it for, 17 years. You're able to wake up with your kids, take them to school, be there for them, take them to jiu-jitsu. You got a beautiful wife the way she looks at you. I mean, what else can you achieve? The only thing you can achieve by stepping back in the cage and fighting is getting it fucked up, right? Because there's nothing else, he goes, what you have already is wealth. Everybody's healthy. You're there for your kids and your wife, and you're happy. And that's a big part of me that's like, telling me that I don't need to fight anymore. And then there's another part of me where I love to test curriculum. I love to test my theories and change an angle or something and just go 1, 2, I'm on this side and he has to change and all that stuff. And right now, my big passion is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the gi. Like, I absolutely love it. It takes away my whole athletic ability. It's a breath of fresh air for me right now. Like, when it comes to MMA, there isn't nothing that really excites me because it's the same game over and over and over. Right? Like, if are there athletes out there that I would love to see if I could beat them? 1,000%. Alex Pantoja, absolutely amazing athlete, very hard, very heavy hands, very hard chin. Do I think I'm more athletic than him? I believe so. Like, I feel if we play basketball, I would beat him. I feel like if we were to run track 2 mile, I would smoke him. I feel if it was like, soccer, he would beat me because that's, a thing that Brazilians do when they're coming up. But I bet you I'll be competitive because my athletic ability. Same thing with Sean O'Malley. He's so tall, 5. I thought he was 5'5", but he's actually 6'2". Trying to cross the distance on him would be so hard. Closing the pressure, get him in the clinch, see if I could beat him up in the clinch, take him down past his guard. Like, that stuff that's still inside of me, even though I'm 37 years old. But to say, am I done? I don't want to put a hard yes or hard no on it. You know what I mean? Because I'm in this state of my mind where I'm building the YouTube up. I'm building my brand. I'm enjoying this part of my life where I can be here with my kids. So there's that answer for you.
Okay, that was a great long-winded answer. I appreciate that.
I'm just giving you the truth, baby. I speak the truth in this channel.
Yeah,
I don't try to bullshit and clout anybody. It's like, this is where I'm at in my life. Like, 37, so many title defenses. I'm at 135 now, won the belt, defended the belt. It's like, I want to do something else. And jiu-jitsu is that right now. Yeah.
You need to find a new hobby. But yeah, it's good to see you guys on YouTube though, the fighters in general. I like watching fighters come over to YouTube. And actually, it's almost like, I don't know, there's like a fan base waiting for them over here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
you got me, Alex Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya. You got
O'Malley does his thing.
O'Malley does his thing, and then you were just on Montiano, his podcast.
Moicano.
I saw you do his interview, and that was hilarious. I think it's one of the biggest thing about athletes coming to this space is building their presence on it and sharing their insight of their careers on it and just having a good time, to be honest with you. So I think it's good. I love it.
That's true. Was it difficult though? Because I remember watching your gaming streams back in the day. I don't know, how much do you do the gaming streams now?
Not as much, man, because
not as much.
Yeah, I usually do that off stream because there's so much content that I have to react to. So much. And I enjoy doing this a lot more than gaming. And the views are more on the reactions and the MMA content. So it is what it is. I still game all the time, but as far as like streaming, I mean, just the monetization of streaming a game for 3 hours to doing a podcast for an hour and a half and you're actually enjoying every bit of it, the podcast blows the monetization way out of the water for gaming.
Yeah, because I remember you used to be almost one-dimensionally on the gaming. Almost. I remember there was like a game in your live stream sometimes, which was like, who can ask DJ a question that's not fight related? Because I remember you getting annoyed. Like you were trying to play a game and every question is like, who's next? When are you coming back? Like basically every question was that. Because I remember you playing, I think it was H1Z1 with Rampage back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
That's a long time ago. That was the Twitch days of your streaming.
Yep.
So it's cool to make you see you make the transition and accept that we want to hear about fights. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, even for Rampage, he would hate it too. He was like, guys, I hate talking about fighting. And then he stopped streaming. He was like, I'm done streaming on Twitch. I don't want to talk about fights anymore. And he would still game. But for me, I have accepted it that's why the views are there because of my fighting career and my insight to it, right? And so once I embraced it and I started to enjoy it, because you never know how, I just saw Nate Diaz in Vegas and, I broke down his fight with Jake Paul. I don't know if he's going to slap me, right?
Yeah, true.
You just never know. But for me, I always like to approach each fight that I break down non-biased. Yes, I do have my favorites like Izzy versus Sean. I wanted Izzy to win, but I will still say what Izzy's deficiencies are as I have deficiencies as well. And if an athlete can't accept me pointing out their deficiencies, I apologize. We're not all perfect. I'm not perfect. I've been knocked out before. I want to be the perfect fighter, but I'm not. That's what I go to the gym and strive for. So for me, once I've embraced it, it's been absolutely amazing. I've been loving every bit of it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. What's up, Rey Mysterio? I should have got your name at the start of this. Probably been a bit more.
What's your name while we're on the topic?
Oh, no, we don't do names.
I'm Michael, by the way.
Okay, well, I don't do names. Internet is crazy. Habib fans are crazy. Let's just end it at that.
They're gonna get his address and finally like, we're gonna get this on.
No, dude, it's already happened a few times. Habib fans are interesting folks.
No, so one thing I just wanted was to give you this platform, our fans. What's the number one thing you want to rant about right now? Give us a good rant. What's grinding MMA Guru's gears right now?
These fucking Apex cards are pissing me the fuck off.
Why?
I hate them. I don't like them.
Why not?
It's just because Jesus Christ. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Get ready. Where do I begin? First of all, I'm over the no crowd thing. I used to like it, and I don't mind it now and again. But now there's no crowded events anymore for fight nights.
Well, I think the last one, I think either Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg. No, it wasn't Mark. I think Elon Musk did the last one, I believe. I think he rented the whole place out, but continue.
That's one of my reasons why I hate this. It's one of my reasons why. It's basically just the Apex is Dana White's cool club.
Yeah.
Where you just go to the crowd, and instead of fans being in the crowd, it's, Mackenzie Dern's here again. You know what I mean? It's just a NFL player, an actor, an Elon Musk, inventor, I guess, or a Twitter owner. They all get into the arena and there's no fans there. The atmosphere is getting kind of dull. They're using it as an excuse where they don't have to sell out an arena so they can put Hermansson versus Pfeiffer and not much else on a card. So it's kind of like when they had crowded fight night events, there was pressure on the UFC to be like, we got to sell out an arena. This isn't just about televising an event. We can't have an empty arena. So they would focus more on giving us the best cards. But now it's just like, fuck it, dude. We own the place. We don't have to rent out the venue. We don't have to sell out a crowd. Let's just fucking shit together Hermansson Pfeiffer and a small card underneath it. Like I don't mind it because there's more cards now, but I would rather 3 less cards a year and some more crowded fight night events.
Gotcha. So you rather have them, like, instead of just throwing them together, you rather actually put some care and effort into the card being stacked instead of doing an Apex, do it, you know, just not a local convention center. Well, shit, it's probably bigger than Apex Center. But I can see where you're coming from, because my father-in-law, he went to the Apex fights and he goes, man, it was absolutely amazing. I loved every bit of it. It was like hand and foot. But maybe for the viewer's experience at home, you know, you're just like, they're at the Apex. COVID's been over for, 5 years now. Why are you guys still there?
And I also think it limits the fighter when it comes to having a really fun fight and having personality.
Yeah.
There's something about a crowd. I don't know. I have this opinion that the majority of the human population aren't really there. So I think when I don't know, there's something about a crowd roaring for a fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Or a crowd getting amped up where there's almost like a subconscious, for casual fans, they'll see that someone's getting a loud roar. And they'll be like, oh, this guy's the guy, I guess, right? And it helps build names. Moicano's interview should not have been in the Apex, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. No, I'll agree with you 1,000%. I fought in an empty arena. It was very intimate. It was very interesting. You can hear the feet slide. You can hear the kicks land. Or when I kick someone, you can hear it land. And then I fought.
Or even in the clinch.
And then when you're in the clinch, yeah. And then when I fought in a live crowd, like it was dead. Then back to live crowd when I fought Rod Tank, it was absolutely, I was like, I remember Uriah Faber said it. He goes, I'm not fighting unless it's a full crowd. I will not fight the Apex Center. I'm always going to fight in front of a live crowd, because that's part of the journey. That's part of the excitement. That's part of the fight. And after I went through the same thing, I was like, I would never fight in front of a dead crowd again. Like, I'm always going to fight in front of like a massive crowd. If nobody's going to come, if nobody's going to come to watch, if they won't do it in a live crowd, then I won't even fight.
Yeah. I also like the locational part of it. That's something big for a fighter's career, I feel like, right? It's not
just Vegas for me, because I honestly, I don't think so. I mean, I think Sugar Sean O'Malley could test this. I think a lot of fighters can test to this. Is we want to fight where we're going to have the least amount of tax, which is Vegas. Like California, they charge you 8% on top of everything you make. So you still got to pay your quarter, right? And then you get 8% on top of everything just because it's in California. I'm like, F you, California. I don't need to fight here. Like, if anything, y'all should be paying me an extra 8% for bringing revenue to this motherfucker. Same to New York. Oh, man, I want to fight an MSG, man. It's going to be amazing. Huh? What? So you can tax me extra 50? Yeah, I'm good.
That's true.
You can have that stuff. So for me, I'll always fight in Vegas. I would choose it over anything. You can get food anytime. You can watch a show. The entertainment is amazing. The weather's great. It's the fight capital of the world. And then
there's the PI there for the fighters.
The PI is there for the fighters. And then you also have the billboards where it's your face is painted on it. Vegas tops everywhere. Just because when you fight, you get your full check. You don't have some asshole in the back taking 8% off the top who did nothing to contribute to the event. So
go off.
I might get a little hate from different places around the world, but it's the truth. Like, tell me why you get 8% just because we're coming to your arena? Tell me.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. It should be a benefit for them to be at the arena, right?
Exactly. Where it's like, I'm not coming. I was like, they say, hey, we want to fight. I was like, send my black ass to Vegas every single time. I don't care. Okay. If I want to visit a place, I'll visit a place. Sorry, that's a little mighty rant, not MMA guru rant.
Yeah. So maybe honestly, the Vegas fighters always going to Vegas. Maybe that'll make these other places change their minds on.
No, they won't.
The way they won't.
No.
But you don't think so?
No, fuck no. They're making money off it. They're making money off it. What's the fun?
Right. I'm thinking maybe people get paid more to go elsewhere if they really can't get fighters to go outside of Vegas.
I mean,
but that's from a. Okay, go on.
I mean, I'll be shocked. I'll be very shocked if they did that, but I don't think that it's ever going to happen because that shit's happened when I was fighting in 2013, and it's still happening in 2024. So they've had 11 years to rectify that, and they have no interest in doing that.
I know. Okay, but in my opinion, I know the fighters. Loud and clear, DJ. You love the idea of Vegas.
Damn right.
Yeah. But for the fans, I don't know. I'm from Europe. Sport is built on home and away, in my opinion. And with the Vegas thing,
you're good.
The Vegas thing, that's good. That's good. You're a little cut out for me. So I go from normal to right at the screen. I don't see you creep forward, by the way. That's why it's a bit of a jump scare. either way, it removes the home and away. There's no guys coming in to someone else's hometown to fight them in the main event. Like, there's none of that anymore. There's no locational promotion from the UFC anymore, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Which I don't mind, but it does take from it.
Yeah, no,
you know?
No, absolutely. I remember when I fought John Moraga in Seattle, I'm the hometown guy, and when I armbarred him, the whole arena erupted. And then, so no, I can feel that. And I think, you know, depending on where the UFC goes, or any organization, not just the UFC, you know, Bellator, One Championship, they want to go to where their market is going to be the best, and they're going to see the best return on investment. You know, like Miami, that's going to be popping.
Yeah.
New York,
Miami's going to be huge.
You know, New York, popping. Vegas, they have the Apex Center. They have T-Mobile Arena. You know, when they used to hold their fights in Mandalay Bay, MGM, and all that stuff, you know, they would put the fighters in the hotel. They would do the press conference there. And when they would go to the arena, they would have to pay Mandalay Bay to be able to host that card in that arena, essentially. So I think that's why you see a lot more UFC Apex events, because they own it. It's like, I just cut like a huge cost, as you say, a huge overhead that they don't have to worry about anymore. So I understand what you mean.
I get how it benefits the UFC and the fighters, but at the same time, fucking shut up and give the fans what they want. We need, because before the pandemic, they were in Prague, Czech Republic, and then they would do a fight night, Warsaw, or they were thinking of going to Oslo. I feel like all of those ideas of them going around the world now
Just stop, yeah.
Are kaput. Now it's just like, Vegas for Zhang Weili and Zhao was an original plan. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you did.
They removed hometown building of names, which is kind of hard for them to get names now, because now you've got. Did you see the Canadian pay-per-view? I'm sure you did. Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah. And the whole,
they had all of.
Yeah, all of Canada lost.
Yeah, that would have been way better for Canadians if they had built them up on like a fight night. Vancouver, I hope that's in Canada.
Yes, it is.
Vancouver or Toronto, or one of these fight night cards to build them up in front of their hometown. But instead, you've got all of these like unranked guys finding their way high up on the prelims on the main card just because it's in Canada, and then it massively backfired on the Canadian soy boys.
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand that. All right, MMA Guru, we are all out of time. Man, this is your opportunity to tell the fans where they can find you, what they can look forward to. Like, this is your chance to, you know, tell people what they need to look for.
Promote myself.
Yes.
I have no sponsors. I don't have any. I would shout them out. I don't have any sponsors. MMA Guru on YouTube. That's all it is.
Okay. Well, ladies,
check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to MMA Guru for joining us on another episode of MIGHTYcast. I'm a big fan of his content, so go do yourself a favor. Go subscribe to the man's channel. Amazing content. He's absolutely funny on Twitter as well. And man, we need to do this again. So I'm going to go on his channel and do an interview and hang out for his guys. And ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Demetrious Johnson, and my co-host, Michael Wandover. We will see you at the next episode of the MIGHTYcast. And if you enjoyed this interview, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, and let us know who else you want to have on the MIGHTYcast. We out, baby.
Shoot. Hey guys, I just woke up over here. But we're here.
That's true. You did just wake up. All right. Oh, shit. Here we go now. Yeah. Well, man, we'll get right to it because we got a lot to talk about. First, shout out, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTYcast. And we're joined by a friend of the show, MMA Guru, one of the men who's been putting, you know, a lot of work in the mixed martial arts community. Some people don't like his content. Some people love his content. I'm going to let you guys know right now, I'm a big fan of his content. So, Guru, welcome back, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you again. I know you've been doing well with the content as well, you know?
Yeah.
Enjoying your retirement, pumping out great content. We're kind of taking over this YouTube game, Demetrious.
You know, I like to think we are. I mean, we've both been grinding since day one. You more in mixed martial arts. I was in the video game aspect, but now I'm full-time in mixed martial arts. And first, I want to say you're probably one of the greatest detectives that's never been a cop. Like the video you did on me and Dana White, going back through all that stuff and pulling all the stuff that, you know, Dana White saying he never had a problem with me. That video was absolutely mint. S tier, my friend. S tier. Round of applause for you, my friend.
Thank you. Some say greatest detective, others say no life. It's one or the other, you know. I went through a lot of old clips, but I also remember a lot, you know. I don't mean to make a fat joke, but they say elephants never forget, Demetrius, you know.
Yeah.
I remember I just, every time I hear someone say something, I can hear their voice playing back the exact opposite in my head. And Dana White was an example of that when I was watching him say, nobody's defended DJ more than me. And then immediately in my head, I'm thinking, I remember you saying this guy's a coward for not fighting so-and-so and not taking this fight and being a diva about wanting to be paid $1 million as a champion in the UFC. So I thought I'd do it. Well, my right eye is fucked up, DJ. I don't know what's going on with my right eye, but we're good.
That's okay.
We can keep going.
That's okay.
You know,
Well,
it's okay.
Well, I mean, you're not in a wheelchair, so you're not going to go blind. So I think we're off to a good start. Right? Okay. Well, let's jump right into it. UFC 309. Let's recap it. Let's go to the main event: Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Right? I wasn't surprised, and I think
Me neither.
that the essence of this fight was, I went on record and said, this fight doesn't need to happen for a world title fight. People are still going to tune in to see Jon Jones fight Stipe Miocic. And I'm pretty sure if Jon Jones wasn't a champion, he would still get pay-per-view points in his contract. So what is the whole essence of him being the champion? Well, by law, you know, code RCW 10/10, when you have a champion and an interim champion, that is supposed to be the matchup that happens. When you have a healthy interim champion and healthy champion, those two are supposed to fight. Granted, this fight was already made between Stipe and Jon Jones. Jon Jones gets injured. Tom Aspinall becomes an interim champion. Those two are supposed to fight. Stipe, at the time, the last time we saw him in Octagon prior to this fight, is he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou, which is back in 2021. So
3.5 years ago.
3.5 years ago. Love Stipe, absolutely amazing athlete. You know, he's 42 now. In those 3.5 years, was he working on in the gym, trying to get better? Yeah. I'm pretty sure he was a little bit, but his main priority wasn't coming back and fighting Jon Jones. His main priority was saving lives, which is way more important than being heavyweight champion of the world or fighting people, right? So you have this essence where I felt it should have been Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Jon Jones has gone on record recently. We'll get to that part next, but I wasn't surprised that Jon Jones beat Stipe. Jon Jones is way too dynamic, way too good, longer, bigger. And yeah, hit him with a spinning back kick, floating rib, finished him. And, you know, I just did a breakdown, and, you know, Stipe's been knocked out multiple times in his career. So what Jon Jones did, it's already been done before, essentially. What's your take, Guru?
Yep.
What's your take?
Yep. Right. So, listen, I've had a lot to say about this. I don't know if you've seen my upload schedule, but we'll talk about the fight itself. I had like a bitterness going into it because, you know, UK guy, I want Tom, heavyweight champ. That would be big for me in terms of, I'd walk around London a little bit more confidently if Aspinall was the big champ of the UFC heavyweight division. But I had a bitterness going into it of like, ugh, yuck, I hate this. But now it's happened. I kind of appreciate that it did. There is nothing that has been more successful at promoting Aspinall than the fact that he didn't get the shot. Everyone rallied behind him, whereas, listen, Aspinall's a nice guy, but he's not really a Strickland that's going to win you over on the mic, or, you know, someone like that, or a McGregor coming up in his prime. So Tom Aspinall's a nice guy, but people have rallied behind him out of like, he's been done wrong. Sometimes it's good for a guy to be done wrong, especially when they're looking to be promoted moving forward. So I think that has subconsciously helped Aspinall here. But talking about the performance, I ultimately assumed Jon Jones was going to beat Stipe Miocic. That was not the shock to me. The question to me was, how good is he going to look? Is he going to blow Stipe out the water? He did, but there were definitely moments where I watched it and thought, oof, if that's a young heavyweight light on his feet with some high level of speed and power that's Tom Aspinall, then this could go a little differently. You know, Stipe Miocic is a legend, but he's also 42, been out for a long time. He's not spent, I don't think he spent 3.5 years in the gym, bringing in like a Craig Jones to make sure his grappling's on point and all of this stuff. Like, I feel like he's been putting his career on the back seat, and then he's sort of seen this opportunity to make millions again against Jones and thought, yeah, I'll focus on this. But even in the training camp, he was doing part-time firefighting. But he looked good. Jones looked good. Spinning back kick to the body, really nasty finish. I actually said in my Aspinall interview that was one of the things that Jones had over Stipe. I mentioned in my Aspinall interview, I said this word for word. I said, one of the big advantages that Jones has is that he's dynamic and there's more for Stipe to worry about. Yep. Stipe's a lineal boxer. He doesn't kick very much, not above the legs anyway. He's not really an offensive grappler as much these days. He likes to avoid that if he can and keep it on the feet with his boxing. And I said, it's not like John Jones has to worry about Stipe Miocic's amazing spinning back kick to the body or anything. It's not that John, watch out for Stipe's great spinning back kick to the body. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't know. He has more of a chance to shock Stipe's system with an override of different techniques, you know? I literally said that. Yeah. And then boom, Jones catches with him because that's his advantage, the dynamicness that Jones can pull off with his athleticism. But yeah, Jones looked good. He won the fight. But I couldn't help but watch it, seeing him plod around in round 2 and think, are these the best heavyweights in the world, or are Ngannou and Aspinall the best heavyweights in the world right now? And these two are just in this limbo state of isolation fighting the older gen in the current generation, if you know what I'm saying.
No, I agree with you. I think the biggest thing going into that was we both agree that Stipe is very lineal how he goes about his fights, right? And in those 3.5 years, you would think like, okay, I'm going to start working on some high kicks. I'm going to start working on body kicks. Okay, I'm going to start working on my wrestling to bring a different thing to the octagon. Because when you watch all his other fights, when he fought Francis, Junior Santos, Alistair Overeem, it's almost like the same fighter. Even DC, it was the same fighter. It's always approaching the fight with boxing. Boxing, not really wrestling. To where a lot of people, if I was in his shoes, okay, if I'm going to fight John Jones when he comes back, I need to make sure I be more dynamic in my approach to this fight. And obviously, you know, John Jones, the IQ, the dynamic, the athleticism, it's just way above Stipe. But I think the biggest thing, like you said, would help Tom Aspinall is that he is even more of a bigger star and he didn't even have to fight. Right? Like he became way more popular by just like, dude, this is who I want to fight. I want to fight the best in the world. If John Jones, if you claim you're the best in the world, then fight me. Like I want to fight you. And John Jones has gone on record saying that I don't want to risk my legacy or my career against a young, hungry, dangerous opponent that's here today and gone tomorrow. Those are his words, verbatim. And now when I hear that, that tells me that he sees Tom Aspinall as a threat, which I believe he is a threat because he is younger, he is faster, he does have that power. And does Tom Aspinall get hit? Yes, he does. Who doesn't get hit when they fight, right? So that was the biggest thing that I was like, okay, I understand that. But he said he's willing to risk it against Alex Pereira. Now, in a perfect world, if Alex Pereira didn't have, you know, Magomed Ankalaev waiting in the contendership spot, and you didn't have Tom Aspinall, then yes, let's make this matchup. Let's do Alex Pereira versus John Jones. But this is reality. This is where we live. At the end of the day, this is a sport. You have Tom Aspinall, a young, hungry, explosive, very good. You know, John Jones doesn't give him credit, but you got to give the man credit. Or it could be John Jones just cut him at the knees and just, you know, kind of like belittling his career. He's done some amazing things in the heavyweight division. He's put way more work in the heavyweight division in the last 3.5 years than Stipe Miocic has, right? So you got to give credit where credit's due. So Tom Aspinall, he's been doing some good shit in the heavyweight division that obviously warrants John Jones to be scared to fight him and risk it. Now, Alex has been killing it. He's been doing his thing, but he's also got Ankalaev, who's right there, that could be a great matchup. If those two can get past the number one contenders in their division, then you make this super fight. But John Jones going out there saying like, I don't want to risk it to the young guy, but I'll risk it for the same guy who's the same age as me, who, you know, is a big name too.
As a striker.
Yeah, he's a striker. I think Jon Jones, that's an easier fight for Jon Jones against Alex Pereira. But it's just, that's the biggest thing that I felt like it kind of elevated this like cloud over this fight. Because for me, I wasn't excited to see Jon Jones come back. I'm excited to see what the outcome is of what decision he decides to do. Does he fight Tom Aspinall or does he fight Alex Pereira?
And instead, he preached Jesus on the microphone, which is nothing wrong with. I don't want to get all critical of that. But he was asked on the mic, like, would you rather fight? You know, Joe Rogan was very big. I think it's strange that there's even being given an option, to be honest with you. I really do. I've got a few hot takes, but one of them is that an interim champ should fight the champion next. Maybe. There shouldn't be this like, you know, Tom Aspinall's won the interim belt.
Yep.
He defended it. And listen, if Aspinall was sitting on the Pavlovich win, I would say, who's this guy? Sitting on the Pavlovich win, take the belt off him. You know what I mean? He stepped up on short notice. He's sat out for a year now, year and a half, whatever it would have been. And he's acting like he deserves all this. But then he defended it against Blades. And that's where I think it legitimized the interim championship. You know what I mean? In a weird world, you know, he stamped his mark like, oh no, this is the guy at heavyweight. He's now beaten Volkov, Blades, and Pavlovich in, I think, combined just over a round, which is kind of insane to put those three names together like that. But yeah, I just feel like it's weird that there's Joe Rogan even being like, what about Pereira? You know what I mean? On the microphone in front of millions. And I'm like, dude, Tom's in the crowd, interim champ with a defense. Get him in the cage.
Yeah.
Jones just said he's not going to retire. Let's get him in the cage. Even for the UFC. I know they like Jones and they kind of want the Michael Jordan of the sport and they want to have that, especially with PFL coming along with Ngannou. I think this whole Jones Dana saga, let's get into this as well. I think it's a Dana vendetta mission against Ngannou, in all honesty. He loves that Jones beat Gane a lot easier than Ngannou did. You know he loves that.
Yeah.
If Jones would have lost to Cyril Gane, there would have been this, the UFC doesn't have the baddest man on the planet. Yeah. Ngannou is. You know, look what he did against Tyson Fury, especially after the Tyson Fury fight. It was like, this guy's crazy. This one of the best combat sport athletes of all time, really. I mean, right? No one's really made that high level of crossover as effectively as Ngannou did. A different night, the judges give him that win against Tyson Fury. Yep. If they're not boxing judges, let's just say. But yeah, I think this whole thing has sort of been Dana. He wants John to be no other promotion can have him. We had the go. We had the best. The UFC did it before anyone sort of picks up any kind of steam of legacy outside the UFC. But I can't even remember what we were talking about, but yeah, Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, well,
he's great.
Yeah, Tom Aspinall's great. But here's another thing, a hot take too, is that, you know, DC said it best. At one point in time, Mauricio Shogun Hua was the man. Like his name was way bigger than Jon Jones, right? He beat Rampage Jackson twice. He's beat, Ricardo Arona. He's beat Alistair Overeem. He's done an amazing thing. He's beat, I believe he beat Forrest Griffin. I'm not sure if he did or not, but he became.
Who we naming? Anderson Silva?
No. Mauricio Shogun Hua.
I didn't hear the name. You cut out a bit. Shogun Hua. Okay, cool. Yeah.
So he's
all these names.
He was a big name at the time, and he didn't have to risk it against Jon Jones. When Jon Jones stepped on short notice, he didn't have to risk it. He didn't need Jon Jones in his legacy, right? But exactly. Mauricio Shogun Hua gave Jon Jones that opportunity to both make a name of himself, and Jon Jones capitalized on it. Now, I feel like it's the vicious cycle of mixed martial arts or any sport. And if you look at Russell Wilson, when he was hot, I don't know if you watch American football, but at one point in time, he was probably considered one of the best quarterbacks because he ushered in a new era of quarterbacks. A quarterback who can sit in the pocket, who can run, and a quarterback who can also throw the ball. Same thing with Cam Newton. But these guys, they stuck around for way too long, and then you had newer generation football players coming in, right? So I feel like it's the same thing with mixed martial arts. If Habib would have stayed around long enough, somebody would have came in and beat Habib and made a name off of beating Habib. Same thing with Jon Jones. It's almost that time. If Jon Jones is going to stick around even longer, you got to give the guy the next shot, the opportunity to be able to make a name. It's the same thing with me. It's like, okay, I beat Adriano twice. He beat me once. I already beat Danny King, I already beat Yuya Wakamatsu, I already beat Tatsumi Wada. The only other person I haven't beat in the division was Kairat Akhmatov. He popped for steroids or whatever the hell his drug test came back. Okay, I'm kind of bored of fighting. Am I going to come over to the UFC, fight Alex Pantoja? Am I going to fight Steve Erceg? Am I going to fight Kai France? Am I going to fight Brennan Moreno? No, I'm bored. I don't enjoy training anymore. So I retired. But if I was still in the UFC and I was still the champion, I was on, a 15 consecutive title streak, then, and it's a next number one contender, I would assume that I would fight because I did it 11 times in a row. Yes, they try to make that TJ Dillashaw fight, right? We had a little stipulations in there. All I asked for was $1 million. They act like it was a lot of money. And I also went in their contract and said, if TJ Dillashaw does not make weight at 125, we fight for his belt at 135. They said no. So the fight never happened, and I was too scared to fight TJ Dillashaw. So I think... Terrified, right? But I think what Jon Jones could be doing is maybe setting something up. He said he would consider fighting Tom Aspinall if the number and the check is good. That way, if he did lose to Tom Aspinall, it doesn't really matter, right? So it's a very hard thing when you peel back the onion. And Dana White said it. He goes, Jon Jones needs to fight Tom Aspinall if he wants to fight again, right? You look at Jon Jones. Jon Jones, you want to fight Tom Aspinall? I want $40 million. I can't give that to you, Jon Jones. You're not getting Alex Picheda. Done. Jon Jones retires. Or does Dana White go back on his word and say, you know what, Alex Jones, you guys to fight? Because Jon Jones already said he would relinquish the world title, right? And he says he doesn't care about it. If he doesn't care about it, then why should I care about it? Like if a champion doesn't really care about his belt, then it doesn't give me significance that I should care about his belt. You catch my drift, right? It's like, I'm going to divorce my wife. I don't really care. That's like, really? I mean, granted, it's two different things, but it's just such an interesting, convoluted problem where it's like, it doesn't have to be a problem if we do what you said. It's like, the heavyweight's fighting the interim champion. Done. If you don't want to fight anymore, Jones, you can just ride off in the sunset because Alex Picheda has a number one contender that he can fight. It's not like these guys don't have people to fucking fight.
Aspinall doesn't. This is the reason why I would say the UFC, even if it is 40, 50 million, I can drop it once on a fighter. Jones is the fighter to drop it on. They've probably dropped a good, I would say they probably dropped a good 20, 30 mil on a McGregor fight. A few times. 100%. 30. I'd say about 30 for the Khabib fight. That would be my guess. But they should drop a 40 mil drop on Jones because it's for the health of the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
They need that because think about the heavyweight division. You said Pereira has Ankalaev. He also has, there's names. Azamat Mirzakhanov, Nikita Krylov. That's a name fight. They're both really good fighters, both of them. And if they win, there'll be some level of hype. And they've got Carlos Ulberg coming up in the division right now as well. He's putting together some good wins. And, there's even like if Khalil picks it back up, there's that rematch because of how competitive the first fight was. There's options. But at heavyweight,
there's nothing.
There's nothing. There's literally nothing going on at heavyweight. There's Jailton Almeida, which is a matchup, but not a huge matchup that everyone's aware of. And based on his previous performances, people aren't too fond of him because he's not crazy exciting guy. He's not picking up these highlight reels. Heavyweight's known for knockouts. People tune into heavyweight to see a big first round finish and get it over with. But other than Jailton Almeida, I mean, there's the Cyril Gane rematch, but then the UFC might fall into that trap of if Gane beats Aspinall, now they don't have the best heavyweight in the world again, if the PFL still has Ngannou being active. Gane being the heavyweight champ at the end of all of this would be the UFC's worst nightmare, in my opinion. So I think dropping that check on an Aspinall-Jones fight is probably the best thing they can do because then it would open up the Pereira movement to heavyweight. Even after that, even if they don't want to drop as much money on that fight. If Aspinall were to win, then the Pereira fight were to happen, it gives them a year of a future while they figure stuff out. Because right now I think they've got a 4-0 Mick Parkin coming up in the division. And it's like, I was even trying to talk to Aspinall about that. And he was like, Mick Parkin's got no chance against me, mate, and all of this stuff. But they're training partners. So even that's a bit of a weird dynamic for them. And I was thinking, Janata Deniz. And then he gets blobbed by Tybura. and Tybura just blobs on him and sits there squatting on him in mount, and it's just like, yeah, there's not much. They need movement, you know, in the heavyweight division. Heavyweight's tough, man. Heavyweight's really tough. They should be allowed to take roids. That's my hot take.
Well, I don't think steroids is going to make him a better fighter or give him more, you know, IQ or make him more dynamic. But
oh, is that a John Jones defense out of Demetrious Johnson there at the end? That was a really slick way of very well defending John Jones being on roids.
You know what?
You almost said, I don't think steroids would have them beat DC in a rematch.
You know what?
By head kick.
You know, we can have DC on here. And the hardest thing with the whole thing, you know, some of the guys in the MIGHTYcast staff might think, you know, that PED, the PEDs, that John Jones is, you know, pop for member is a picogram. You know, I've been in mixed martial arts for 18 years. I've done so many drug tests, and all my drug tests have come back clean. Never gone to a gas station, got dick. None of that stuff. Dick still go hard when my wife comes out the shower. I don't need that. So that's always going to be an overhead cast over John Jones. It was funny. My kids are watching the fight, and when they're naming all the things that John Jones has accomplished, and they're like, oh, he's gotten in trouble. He's done cocaine. My son turns around and goes, John Jones does cocaine, Dad? And I was like, son, that was in the past. I don't know what he does now. But I couldn't believe the UFC said that, like, in the build-up. And my kids were like, motherfucker does cocaine, Dad. I'm like, one, I should let you guys watch South Park, because that's the only reason why you guys know what cocaine is. And two, don't worry about that. But it's just interesting. I agree with you. There's no movement in the heavyweight division. And it's just hard because now we have to sit back. Well, we don't really have to sit back. But if John Jones truly does not want to fight Tom Aspinall, and then what do? Do you say, okay, fuck it, Alex, you fight Ankalaev? If you end up beating Ankalaev and you beat another contender, then you fight Tom Aspinall, right? Or they're going to have to spend a lot of money and go get some new breed of heavyweights. Because you think about it, yes, John Jones has won the belt and he's defended it. Tom Aspinall has won the belt and defended it. So technically, they're both tied for how much work they've done as a heavyweight champion in the division. But it's just such a hard, like, it's a hard problem when it shouldn't be a fucking hard problem, essentially.
A few things to say on that. I think in terms of the heavyweight problem, a fix they could do that PFL will do if the UFC do not do it. They will give Rico Verhoeven a top contender and give him some preparation on takedown defense. He tried to make an MMA run before and it didn't go well. He got taken down. He was beating up a guy. He got taken down. He ended up losing, I believe. But Rico Verhoeven, glory GOAT, I would say. I don't know about GOAT, actually, but decade-long glory heavyweight champion in kickboxing. Decade-long without losing, which is insane. He's known. He's been in videos. He's been in conversations more. They're talking about doing him versus Ngannou in like a hybrid rules at PFL, like a kickboxing match, pretty much, which I think would be interesting because Rico, if you know Rico, of course you do. Do you know?
I think
Rico
I do.
Verhoeven.
I think I've seen him before because he was talking about coming over to mixed martial arts. He goes, "Hey, let's make this happen." But nobody's really. There hasn't been much steam of trying to make it happen. Essentially, like nobody else is trying to make it happen.
But I think he subconsciously is, because he's been training with Aspinall for a long time. He's appearing in his YouTube videos. In the last one they did, he was talking about a hybrid rules matchup with Ngannou at PFL. And I'm thinking that could be the X factor that you bring in if we see how Pereira did. If you bring him in, pay him a good chunk, give him a few fight contract right at the deep end, who's to say you don't just knock out a top contender real quick and then all of a sudden there's some narrative behind him. But Rico Verhoeven is an option to save. I want to get back to the roids though, DJ.
Oh, God.
Rico Verhoeven fights December 7th in Glory. Okay. He does. He has a rematch against someone that spinning back fist knocked him down. Yep. It was a good fight. He fought a guy in a Grand Prix. Thank you, Nick, for that, dude. But yeah, he does have a matchup coming up in December. Maybe he gets on the mic and states what's next. But I do want to get back to the roids on John Jones. I personally think, and I'll say this is a hot take, it isn't the best for the sport to have a GOAT of the sport in John Jones and then say, oh, by the way, he's also the one with the most drug testing anomalies in his career as well. Because it does, to me and to lots and lots of fans, I'm sure you know the difference between, I'm not saying from experience, but you would know that it's A lot of people think roids turn you from A to B. You just be some wimp. And then you take roids and all of a sudden you're John Jones. Like, I don't think without roids, John Jones is losing to, you know, Carlos Felipe, the regional heavyweight that got cut from the UFC. I don't think that happens, but it is that edge that you have when it comes to recovery, when it comes to going into fights healthy, training healthy, not going into things with injuries. It is that edge that you have, especially when Jones goes on a Smith, Santos, Reyes back to back to back within a year. It's that thing that keeps him fresh if he is on something, which he is. It's tough. I don't know if he is right now, but he has been, so you can assume that he still is. But I just think when it's all said and done, I'd love to have a GOAT of the sport that you could hang your hat on, like you, like GSP, like a guy right now that's pushing forward, like if Khabib would have went on a little bit further, where you could hang your hat on him and say, this guy's the GOAT with no asterisks. There's not this, he's the GOAT. Oh, and by the way, he just so happens to be the guy with the most failed PED tests in the modern UFC era.
Well, first we have to figure out how many failed drug tests did John Jones have. So while I give you more of a discussion, let's go.
4 or 5.
We can have the producer Nick. Nick, while we're doing this, look it up, and so we can have like a clear, you know, number of how many he's failed. But that is the hardest thing about this sport. Right? Depending on who you ask, you know, Dana White's never going to acknowledge that stuff. He'll probably say, you know what, he went to court, they tested it, it was a picogram, et cetera, right? For me, I think we're all athletes, and I've been tested at the liquor store from USADA. I've gone swimming, and when I came up from a lap, USADA was right there. It's almost like she just had fucking deja vu. She's right there. I've been tested all around. I've never hid from a test. I've always been compliant of giving, you know, blood, urine, whatever they want. Now, John Jones does have some, unconclusive, I guess you say. Well, it is conclusive because it said it was a picogram. My first thing is like, what is that doing there? Right? I mean, there's so many athletes there that have popped. You know, I remember Sugar Sean O'Malley said he was grappling somebody and he tested positive for something that was inside of it. Everybody's popped for something. I've never popped for anything, right? So for me to sit here and be like, okay, John Jones is a cheat and he's done steroids, I would have to be like, I want to be naive to say that he never did it. Same thing with TJ Dillashaw. Like, when he came out and popped and he said, so I took EPO, I was flabbergasted. I was like, why? Why would you, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, Gordon Ryan, he's came out, you know, Craig Jones, they come out and say, yeah, I take steroids because everybody else is doing a jiu-jitsu, right? And then my question was like, hey, Gordon Ryan, do you think you'd be just as good and be able to compete at a high level without steroids, right? He won't come on the MIGHTYcast because I'm just going to ask him blatantly. I'm just asking straight up. Same with Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone, he wants to come back and fight. He's been on TRT and he's been, you know, straightforward. He goes, it makes me feel fucking great. I mean, with the train again, I recover faster. And that's what steroids does. It helps you recover faster from what people are telling me. So only person who truly knows if they took steroids or not is John Jones. You know, will he ever come out and say, yes, I've taken steroids? We have no idea. But, you know, he does have, you know, an asterisk on a USADA test. And for you, if you think if somebody's going to be considered the GOAT in mixed martial arts, they have a clean record. You know, what let me ask you this, Guru, because you have probably the biggest following in mixed martial arts that you built from day one. What do you consider a GOAT in mixed martial arts? Like, what is it for you that gives that somebody earns that label?
Perfection, level of competition. I think when it comes to the greatest of all time, being great is an achievement of greatness. You know what I mean? How many great wins do you have? How many great moments do you have? That's what it comes down to. And listen, John Jones is the greatest of all time. He is. There's a lot of people that, listen, if we want to get into who's popped, Makhachev has popped before. And a lot of people have him like nearing the borderline. If he picks up a few more, he's going to be in the conversation. And there's a lot of names in the sport that have popped before. Like even you said O'Malley there as well. But I'm not saying O'Malley's near the GOAT conversation, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of names that have popped for something. So I know there's all of that. I consider Jon Jones the greatest of all time. You know, you achieve legacy, you achieve it against names people know at a top quality competition. I think you're in the conversation because you did it across different promotions. I think that's a huge edge for you, to be honest with you. Especially at ONE FC, where I think the lighter divisions are a lot more credentialed than the heavier divisions.
Oh, but,
you know, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
The heavier divisions, they almost don't have opponents in the heavier divisions. I saw Derrida speaking about that and Malakin and all of this. So I do consider an achievement of greatness. How much did you achieve? What did you do? Did you beat everyone you lost to? Who did you lose to? How good were they? Those things stick out. At GSP, he lost twice. He beat both of them. He redeemed it double. Got the double champ status. There's just how much do you one up the guy competing with you? The guy people are comparing you to. We see Nick has typed in the chat here to get back to the roids. 3 failed tests for PEDs, 1 for cocaine.
Okay.
He typed in the chat.
Okay, well, cocaine isn't a PED, right? So we can go ahead
in some places to perform it could be.
You know,
but in the cage, maybe not.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say right now, when I started dabbling in THC, shout out to Via Hemp. Via Hemp sent me some good stuff. Had a couple tokes, and then next thing you know, the next day I went to the gym, did about 10 to 12 rounds. I swear it made me faster. And I told my coach, like, dude, this is a PED. He goes, no, you just got a lot of rest. That's what you got. You got well-needed rest, which helps me recover. So in hindsight, it could be considered a PED because it gives me the opportunity to relax my body. And, cocaine, maybe. I don't know. It's an upper. I've never done it before. So people in the chat, if you guys have done cocaine, please leave in the comment section below to let me know what it does for you. And then what was the other 2 Nick said?
You have 3 failed tests for PD, 1 for cocaine, PEDs. With Jon Jones, it's just like, it was the pop for Turinabol. I do want to mention this. It was a pop for Turinabol, trace amount, but there's levels of understanding of this DJ. So I get there's the naivety of... Maybe it was just this that popped up in his system. We've seen it with many fighters before. Yep. But when the fans, I'm speaking as a fan here, you're a fighter, so you see Jon Jones and think that the cocaine, or not the cocaine, the PED didn't make him go to the body early against DC and then whip a head kick up out of nowhere and catch him off guard. You know that. Yeah. But as a fan, and speaking for the fans, what we see is who's popped for something trace amount that has just been brushed over. Yep. We see Sean O'Malley, a future superstar in the company. We see Jon Jones, the GOAT of the sport. Who's the only guy to grow a boob in the octagon? It's Adesanya in the modern era. Just so happens to be the front runner and the leading star at the time. It's funny to talk, but fans notice that the only ones with these anomalies are the ones that are either just so happen to be the best in their division, just so happen to be above the rest, or just so happen to be like a guy that they want to create into a star. Who's the guy that finds out in the sport that you can take out of the USADA window and get on roids to recover? Weidman didn't know about that when he broke his leg. McGregor did. McGregor pulls out of the testing window, takes the roids. It just seems to be there's a gray area, and that gray area very heavily benefits, just so coincidentally, the stars of the sport and the best names at fighting in the sport. And when it comes to Jones and his failed tests, they talk about Turinabol, they talk trace amounts. The Turinabol pulsing in his system wasn't proven to be done with Turinabol. It was proven to be done with Clomid, which is another failed test of Jon Jones that he had when he tested positive for Clomid. And that was something that was said, the Turinabol, it's pulsing in his system because Clomid has done it before. And Clomid has stuck around in people's fat cells and popped up again long after they've taken it in a trace amount. But Jones never tested positive pulsing for Clomid data. There was also the thing that came out after the DC fight, one of the DC fights, someone might have corrected me the other day, but one of the DC fights, it came out that he had the testosterone levels in that fight of a castrated male. They were very, very low. And I don't think Jon Jones is castrated chemically. So something in that DC fight must have been replacing his testosterone. So I think there's a gray area, but then there's a thing that the fans see and they think, we're not hearing about the pulsing picograms of, who's to say a name? We're not hearing about the pulsing picograms of Carlos Diego Ferreira. Yeah. We're not hearing about the pulsing picograms of a Jim Miller. We're not hearing about the pulsing picograms of a Suma Dwerji. Maybe he has actually before. I'm not sure that somehow springs into my mind. But we only seem to hear about these anomalies in this random thing popped up in their system.
Yeah. Well,
McGregor takes that the testing window. Jones pops for this 3 times, 4 times. Few other things here. And then you see these other names. Adesanya grows a boob. You see even in lower divisions, you see Dillashaw. Who's the bantamweight in UFC history that is the guy that has the drug problem or the PED stain on his legacy? Just so happens to be Dillashaw, who has a conversation to be the greatest bantamweight of all time. So for you, as a fighter, you understand the game differently and you go, the roids ain't making Jones fight the way he does. That's John Jones. And I get that from a fighter perspective, but the fans go, God, it's only the greats that are having these problems. There must be an edge. There must be an advantage. Is that the reason for the advantage? And that's what the conversation is. Just to get it out there. Yeah. Just to get the argument out there.
Yeah. So I'm going to approach it in 2 aspects. One, I think Israel Adesanya's his chest, the pec. I remember something, it was like a medical condition and he got it checked on. Nick, while we're going over this, you can look that up. But let's talk about that whole thing about the failed USADA test. For me, I'm such a black and white person where it's like, okay, you failed that fucking test. There's no reason why I should have been there. Right? Like there's just no reason. There's no excuse. Right? I've done many, many drug tests and not one thing has ever came up in my test. They tested A, B sample, nothing. I'm never taking anything, right? So I feel comfortable saying that. So for me, when I hear you say that, like, he's had 3 failed drug tests, one is cocaine, I'll let that one slide. The other 2, my first question is like, what the fuck's that doing in your system? That's like my hard ass, like, what is it doing in your system? And the hardest thing too is like, at one point in time, you had TRT that was, people got exemptions for TRT, right? So
but
that's something that it's also, I don't know who was on TRT or whatever, right? But for me, if what you're saying is that if somebody who has a failed USADA drug test, they're not in a GOAT conversation. I should, because for me, I understand, like, when you're in a training camp, you need to recover. If you can't recover, you're not gonna be able to train harder, So for me, if I was to sit back and be like, okay, John Jones has 2 failed drug tests. From what I'm saying, okay, you're done. You're not in a GOAT conversation. You're exempt. GSP, let's look at your record. Clean. Everything came back clean. Boom. You're on there.
Demetrious Johnson, your record. Everything clean. Everything, no stain.
No stain. You look at Habib. Clean. Shit, Michael Chandler. No, it's clean. No stain, And here's the thing too. When athletes suffer a horrific injury and they get out of the USADA testing pool and then they take steroids, if they take steroids. I don't know if Conor McGregor's taking steroids, but I just rather people come out and be honest about it. It's like, hey, dude, I broke my fucking leg. I got out of the USADA testing pool. I jumped on steroids to help my injury heal faster. And now that I'm off steroids, I'm getting back in the USADA testing pool to be able to compete. Why not be open about it instead of having this cloud, right? I'd rather athletes be straightforward that they take steroids like they do in the jiu-jitsu community instead of in mixed martial arts. Right. But then again, it's going to, discredit everything they have been able to accomplish or they've done. So for me, how I am, it's like, you failed a test, doc. Nah, you don't get it. You're out of it. Right. So it's just so hard because I don't want to take away the greatness that John Jones has done.
I know.
Right. You know what I mean? That's the hardest thing. It's like, man, you failed a drug test. It was a picogram. It should have been in your system to begin with, dog. That's how I feel. But it's a hard conversation to have. It's a very hard conversation to have because USADA said, oh, it's good. He passed. Even Sugar Sean O'Malley, like even him, I love him to death, and he said, do I look like a guy who takes steroids? Like, no, you don't. You're not. Boom, shred it. But it was in your system. Why was it in your system? That's the
why,
and that's why I love USADA. USADA is fucking king dingling because they will come for you wherever you're at, and they will collect that sample. You can hide, you can run, but they don't get that urine and they're going to get that blood.
Yeah, they're going to make it happen. But on that point, I get exactly what you mean. But maybe we're entering a new era where fans are just I think fans that came up. I was before the USADA era, but there's a lot of fans now, especially that watch my stuff, that are joined during USADA. So they're on the You're an OG fan of the sport. You've been around for so long. You've seen the Wild West of, I know this guy's blasting all kinds of chemicals. This guy's a walking chemistry experiment. going into the cage right now. So you know that era. Whereas the fans that are watching my content and the fans of just after my generation of fans, they're of the USADA era, where they have an expectation that everyone is natural and everyone is clean. And I think that's like a new expectation moving forward. So I just think we have enough proven or no stain on a legacy people like you, GSP, Khabib. We have other guys moving up right now that are pushing towards high legacy status right now, where they don't really have a stain on their legacy, where people are kind of like, do we need to have the argument of everyone's on it? So just because this guy had this, or not because everyone's on it, but you know, a lot of people have tested positive. So just because this guy doesn't mean he has to be out of the conversation.
Yeah. And I think, prior to when it was the Wild Wild West, a lot of those guys who were over in Pride in Japan, they were on the sauce, right? Like I never forget one of my coaches, Brad Kurtzen, he was over there and he saw Mauricio Shogun Hu and he goes, holy fuck. He was massive. And then they come over to the UFC. They don't even look at Alistair Overeem. That's another prime example. Somebody who was small. I mean, when you're 18, 21 years old, you're almost at that peak performance of which you're going to be able to develop, right? And if you look at Alistair Overeem, 23, 25, and then he blows up, fucking massive, all this, there's no way you could put that amount of muscle on your body in a short amount of time while doing high level cardio. There's just no way. And he said he ate horse. Possible. Yeah, it's not possible. He said he ate horse meat on one of his interviews. And then now,
I don't know what those horses were on, but they were on some kind of HGH, it seems like. I don't know.
Yeah. And then now you look at Alistair Overeem, he's way more leaner. He looks more what his body is, his natural muscle capacity of his genetics would be, essentially, right?
Yeah.
That
what he used to look like.
What he used to look like. That is a
People forget that about Alistair Overeem.
Yeah.
He used to be a very lean, slender, lanky kid for a kickboxer. Even when he was fighting these big names like Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
He was like a lean, Liddell was like pushing him around as like the smaller guy and then he sort of inflated into this thing. But I get what you're saying there, because when you said Overeem and talk about roids, I think immediately, oh yeah, look at that Lesnar fight. Oh my God. Because what the narrative is, of course, Overeem was on something, but look at the guys he was fighting.
Yeah.
Even then you brought up Shogun, and then I was talking just about Jones testing positive. And I'm like, well, Jones had these few little blimps in his career, but we know Shogun was on something. So are we going to hold Jones too accountable, knowing that these Pride guys have been on things before? So I don't know. I just think there's a different mindset of fans that have come up in the era where they have an expectation that people are natural, and they have an expectation that there should be no blimp on their legacy. That's all it is. There's a new movement, and I think it's good for the sport. I think it's very good for the sport.
Oh yeah.
Where it's not, that's just how it is. That is a mindset that there has been. And I think the new movement is, that's not how it is. It can't be how it is. But when it comes to Lesnar, I mean, you said USADA don't tolerate things. He did test positive for his test before the Mark Hunt fight. Allegedly he did.
Yeah.
So it gets interesting. That's what fans are kind of up in arms about.
Gotcha.
The names we're mentioning: Lesnar, huge superstar, saved the UFC, heavyweight champ, became a huge name for them. John Jones just so happens to be the greatest of all time. O'Malley. McGregor finds out about the way you can dip out of the window.
So we're
smart people, Demetrious. So we're onto it. We're detectives over here.
So what I feel like you're putting down that the UFC is helping the fighters, kind of navigate this career, I guess you could say, where it's like, hey, here's a little bit of this. Go ahead, do what you got to do. We'll make sure you get out nice and clean. Is that what I'm getting? Is that what I'm hearing from you, Guru?
Seeing as I'm a huge target for the UFC, because I've found out recently that they all know who I am and they're not fond of me. All I'm going to say is fighters that no one cares about and aren't moving on towards potential GOAT status don't seem to test positive for things and don't seem to have these anomalies that can all be figured out within 6 months. Let's just get the show on the road type thing. That's all I'll say. I need to be careful. Well, there you go. Look, Nick has been correcting me the whole time about the testosterone in the DC fight, and the Izzy guy I know has He said it was smoking weed. Interesting.
What?
Nate Diaz would have 2 double D cups if it was about smoking weed. And then even here, before his Mark Hunt at UFC 200, Lesnar failed 2 drug tests conducted by USADA.
Oh, God.
It just gets interesting. I'm just reading stuff, UFC lawsuit people. Just reading stuff.
You know what? I would say this. I will go on record and say that I would say maybe, I feel comfortable saying 95% of the athletes who fight in mixed martial arts in the UFC are pretty much clean. Like there's athletes that like Max Holloway, clean, Ilia Topuria, clean, Charles Oliver, clean, Michael Chandler, clean. Like I can name a whole bunch of guys who've been able to produce a lot of, passing drug samples, right? And then you do have those clouds where it's like, hey, he's out of USADA. Oh, nah, he's out of the testing pool. Now he's oh my God, catastrophic injury. He's back way faster than before. Once again, I can't speak upon those people. They need to come out and they lay their head on the pillow every single night with a big count, feeling good, whatever it may be. They're the only ones you can come out and say, yes, I did do drugs. I need to get to a point. I feel comfortable saying I've never taken drugs. Every single thing I've done in the gym, tests I've given, I'm excited when USADA shows up. I offer him dinner. I try to cook dinner for her and give her whatever she needs. But I cannot speak on that. And then when you say the new era of the fans, they never came in at the beginning of the Wild Wild West. They're like, Kate, everybody should be clean. But guys, what people
weren't clean.
People weren't clean.
People were not clean. They really weren't. But we'll put this topic to rest, I guess, because we're getting on. But it is what it is. I think this narrative from the new Usher fans benefits you, DJ. We believe you. We believe you for sure. We believe that GSP was clean. There is some things about GSP that, this and that, but en masse, it does benefit fighters like you. You're still in the GOAT conversation to us. But there's just a new mindset coming along in the sport, which I think is good overall. But obviously, it's going to clash with the original mindset of the sport. That's just how it is. I need to be careful how I speak on all this because since the Nina drama beef, I don't know. I've become aware that the UFC is aware of me, and that does make me worry here and there. Apparently, they all know who I am, and they're not fond of me at all.
There's nothing they can do. They can't touch you, Guru. This is the thing about people got to understand is that you built your community from your hard work. Nobody has given you anything, right? Mm. Like your content you make is great. Some of it, the one you did with Michael Chandler and his children, I wasn't a fan of, I'll be honest. But other than that,
some of it's crazy as fuck. Yeah, I know. I get crazy.
Some of the stuff is crazy, but at the end of the day, you're bringing a lot of things to light and you're saying certain things and you're just giving your honest opinion. And the fans can either like it or they can hate it, right? And when you build your community by you just being honest and and you clearly have a passion for the sport, right? So for me, the UFC can't do anything to you. They can't touch you. What are they going to do? They can't touch you because you don't rely on the UFC. You rely on your fans to support you and enjoy your content, and your content is very enjoyable. I'm one of them. I'm subscribed to the channel. I've made donations before. He's got some of my money, ladies and gentlemen, being straightforward. But I think, I've never heard that the new Usher of fans have an expectation on the drug test. So that was new to me because I don't talk to the fans all the time, right? I don't you interact with your community more than I do with mine, if that makes sense, right? You did a live, you guys talk back and forth, you guys talk about all the fights. So I wanted to hear your perspective on this because you have a good take. You listen to the fans and you're more of a fan than I am. I'm an athlete, right? Yeah. That's why even when I talked to Michael, the producer, he was like, oh man, Bo Nickal needs to be fighting more. No, he doesn't. He's had 6 fights. And he wants to take his time. He doesn't have time for era because 2 fights and he's like, well, he's not gonna become a world champion. That's what he wants. So it's always like to get a perspective of somebody who is truly a fan.
Yeah. I mean, that's the advantage I have because if I just did videos, I think that is why my videos do well is because of the live streams. It's because I actually have the conversations and then I can see, oh, we're having this conversation about this topic. And the chat's going crazy with donations and things about this topic. I'll make a video about that today because the MMA fan base that's in my live chat, I'm watching a live conversation between me and them go really well virtually. I can get a video out of this, which I think really helps my channel. But
let's talk about the Chandler versus Charles Oliveira, right? Absolute banger, right? I think Michael Chandler is always going to be excited no matter who he fights. I do believe if he does fight Conor McGregor, if that ever happens, I think he beats the brick off Conor McGregor just because he's a hard worker and he's just going to put fucking gas, the pedal to the metal. And I don't think Conor can sustain that an ass whooping, right? He's got to get out of the silk sheets. He's got to put the cocaine down. He did mention, ladies and gentlemen, that he does do cocaine in the rape allegations that he just did in the court. So I just don't know if, Conor is ever going to come back to mixed martial arts.
Yeah. Let's talk about Oliveira Chandler. It was a good fight. I think it was a good performance from Charles Oliveira. I think Oliveira is starting to consider the possibility that he doesn't need to get into an insane car wreck of a fight every single time. I think he's at that point of his career where he's like, okay, if I lose now, I think the idea of if Charles loses, he's done is more prevalent than before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's starting to consider that a little bit more when going into fights because I think he's like, okay, if I slip down this mountain, it's getting bigger and bigger to climb back up. Whereas if he's a champion, you can ask for an immediate rematch here and there. So I think he's less opposed to the risks. So I think we're going to see a lot more of a patient Oliveira. But Chandler's going to make it. He's going to stick it out. He's either going to get finished and go out or he's going to give it his all, as we saw in the 5th round. He was a little bit cheating in moments. But I'm going to be honest. There was a lot of back of the head shots going on, a few cage grabs, eye pokes. I saw the Weasel on YouTube, made a video breaking down all of that as well. But hey, I don't know. I feel like, go on.
Hey, at the end of the day, it ain't cheating unless you get caught. And obviously, he was grabbing the cage. He was hitting the back of the head. And the ref thought it was all legal. And here's the weird thing, believe it or not, is any strike that you hit, as long as you make contact with the ear, it is considered legal. So if I'm punching you and I'm hitting you like this, right here, that's considered back of the head. If I'm hitting you like this, that is considered legal. It's considered okay. Even though I'm hitting you in the back of the head, as long as I make contact with your ear. What they consider the back of the head is if you have a mohawk, that's considered the back of the head. So it's a very interesting fine line. Granted, I'm with you. He was fucking him up in the back of the head. But there's some error where it's like they don't really be straightforward of like, hey, what's considered the back of the head? And in the back, her dean like, if you strike the ear, as long as you hit the ear, you can have some fucking double XL hands and some gloves. If I'm hitting the back of the head, as long as I have contact with the ear, it's considered legal. And Michael Chandler did it probably good 20 solid. I wasn't counting, but I'm sure
good 20.
Maybe 20.
20 of them.
Okay, in the back of the head. But, in the heat of the moment, he's losing. He's down by 4 rounds. And he just, probably blacked out.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he just saw red and attacked viciously the back of Oliveira's head. But Oliveira survived it, makes it to a decision. You did mention before that you like his chances against McGregor a lot more. You think he would beat McGregor for sure.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I would pick Chandler to beat McGregor just purely because I don't think McGregor's in the game in that way anymore. Like, I don't think he's going to be ready to grit down where he needs to. I think, listen, everyone's really tough until Chandler lands a heavy calf kick in the first round and McGregor thinks back to his millions and all of a sudden he doesn't want to grit as much anymore like he did in the Mendez fight when he was hungry and on the come up. But I will say I'm more confident with McGregor's chances after the performance against Oliveira. I know Chandler had been out for a long time, but on the feet, he didn't look in any way near the level. Like in the first 4 rounds, I thought there was going to be a lot more danger for Oliveira on the feet.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And Oliveira was very, I don't want to say easily, but very like casually walking down Chandler in moments and picking his shots against him. And it's like you could see everything Chandler was winging his way, whereas the Chandler I remember before on his run, it was more of a shock when he landed something. Whereas in this fight, it was very... So it is probably the matchup McGregor should come back to, but I still don't think McGregor would win that matchup.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, and I think Chandler's trying to be more calculated when he was striking, right? Because when I talked to him, he was like, dude, and I told him straight up, I was like, dude, you go from like a 12 to a fucking 18. It's, you remember when he fought, I think it was Dustin Poirier, he was cracking Dustin with a beautiful right hand over and over and over again. And you would see, and when Michael Chandler would go, he would actually land great shots against Charles Oliveira, and that's what Charles Oliveira took the game to the ground, right? Because he was a way better grappler. But if Chandler can just go, so I feel like his last fight when he fought, can't remember who it was, he just went 100, he went balls to the wall. Now he just went a little bit less balls to the wall. So I think he's trying to find that happy medium to where, okay, where can I go? Because he came back to the corner and he was like, guys, give me a combination that you think it will work, right? That's what the commentator said. So for me, when somebody is asking for that type of guidance, he's still trying to get accustomed to this new style. And I texted him this morning. I said, dude, great fucking fight. You're still a savage. And he goes, yeah, hey, I wasn't 1,000. I wasn't, at a 12. I was more like a 6 or 7. I was like, yeah, but that's okay. You can still continue to build. So if he fights Conor isn't going to walk him down like that. Conor's going to get out there and dance, and Michael Chandler's going to be able to set up his shot to where Oliveira, he walks down in that void and he forces somebody to fight. And then when Chandler would do 1-2, he tries to run back out, and that's when Oliveira catches him. And I just think Charles Oliveira is at this level now in the game where I agree with you. He's realizing that he has such an advantage over people in the grappling aspect, and he took it there. And once he got the body triangle, and you saw Michael Chandler, he came back to the corner. He was the only other fighter ever here say this, is I took that round off because I wasn't going to try to make a mistake to try to get out, right?
Oh, yeah.
What was his name? Henry Cejudo said the exact same thing. If he was to fight Aljamain Sterling, he goes, if Aljo gets my back, I'm taking the round off because I'm not going to get him the fuck off my back. And when Chandler said that, okay, so we knew he didn't want to do anything on the ground, and he didn't want Charles Oliveira on his back, and I wouldn't want that motherfucker on my back either because he's so hard to get off, and he's longer than Chandler. Once that body triangle gets locked up, it's like, okay, the round's over unless I'm going to twist and get out, supposedly. So, yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
It's a hard thing to solve just because where does Chandler go next, right? I think the only fight that makes sense is Conor McGregor, but other than that, who's going to fight Dustin again? Who's going to fight Gaethje? Where does Chandler go from here? Obviously, Charles, he's going to fight the winner of Islam versus Arman. But for Chandler, what does he do next?
I mean, first of all, I don't want Charles to fight the winner of Arman versus Makhachev.
Really?
That's one thing. I'll get to that.
Okay.
But maybe I'll start with it, seeing as you're so recoiling in, you don't understand that take. I think you should be on a win streak to fight for a title in the UFC.
Okay.
He lost his last 2 fights to both Arman Tsarukyan and Islam Makhachev. And listen, maybe if Arman Tsarukyan beats Makhachev and they're like, okay, the Oliveira Tsarukyan fight was very competitive. We're going to run that one back. Makhachev's not ready for a quick turnaround for an immediate rematch or whatever reason it is. But if Makhachev were to beat Arman Tsarukyan, I want to see Makhachev move on to his next legacy. You know what I mean? Like, he needs to chase something more. It's not just, you've beaten Arman Tsarukyan, now back to Oliveira, and here's Poirier on another win or two, and Gaethje hasn't fought Gaethje yet, but I do want to see something new for Makhachev, because I don't know, I feel like he's, everyone talks about a featherweight thing or another lightweight, like Oliveira getting his rematch, and Oliveira was a champion, and he did defend, even though the weight miss was there, but I'd like to see Oliveira run it against another contender. There's a lot of guys at lightweight that are just sort of just outside. Like, I'd love to see Oliveira take on the winner of a Moicano versus Pimblett in like a big pay-per-view spot.
Ooh, that's sexy.
And you know what I mean? And then you can get one of those names in that big fight between Moicano and Pimblett into the top. That's their, like, not stepping stone, but that's their ticket if they can cash it to the top of the division. You know what I mean? Because we get a lot of isolationism at the top of the lightweight division with Gaethje put Poirier this, Gaethje Poirier 2, Gaethje Oliveira, Poirier Oliveira, Chandler versus all of them. And then nothing really happens until Gaethje fights a Fiziev or Poirier steps down and fights a Benoit Saint Denis. So I'd like to see Oliveira fight one more, or I'd like to see Oliveira just cash in on the McGregor fight because I want him to make a lot of money. But I think that could stand alone as a main event of a pay-per-view. McGregor Chandler could as well. Yeah, 1,000%, I think you're about to say. Mm-hmm. But McGregor could as well stand alone at the top of a pay-per-view. But I think Oliveira has the status as a fighter that warrants him being in the main event of a pay-per-view, whereas Chandler is, I mean, he may be ranked number 7 or 8 after this in a division. So for Chandler, I mean, I'd like to see him run it against an up-and-coming contender in the lightweight division. He's had a very UFC-friendly time of things, in my opinion. You know, he comes in, he gets Dan Hooker for a title shot, Oliveira, Gaethje. Then he gets Ferguson coming off some losses. He beats Ferguson. And then he gets, I believe, Poirier. There might be another fight in there that I'm forgetting about. And now it's 2 years off. McGregor fight waiting in the works. Oh, you get Oliveira again in a title elimination bout position. Let's restore order here and have him, you know, let's have some justice and some like parliamentary procedure here, you know, where he takes on a contender that's on the up and coming, maybe like a Fares Siam or someone like that, someone who's put in the work, got themselves in the rankings, and then if he can bounce back there, we can talk big fights again.
Damn, I forgot about Pimblett versus Moicano, and I actually kind of like that too. Why not give him the opportunity to fight Charles Oliveira, and then if Islam is able to get past Arman, then, you know, lightweight, they don't have to be welterweight. And the welterweight champion right now, who is the welterweight champion right now? That is Bilal Muhammad.
No one remembers his name. Yeah, there you go.
Bilal Muhammad.
Almost poetic there. Bilal Muhammad is
Bilal Muhammad, but he just got injured. We have Shawkat versus Ian Garry that's coming up next. So it's an interesting thing, but I agree with you. I think if you let Islam fight Arman, and then if Arman wins, they can figure that out. But if Islam's able to beat Arman, why not give the winner of Moicano versus Pimblett versus Charles Oliveira, and the winner of that could fight Islam if they were to get past it. So I kind of like that. That's one of the things about mixed martial arts. When you watch it, you almost forget about what's on the horizon when it comes to the lightweight division, right? Because everybody's just remember what just happened last night, which was, you know, Charles Oliveira, right? I was like, oh man, he needs to fight the winner. And it's like Islam already beat him and finished him, if that, right? And then Arman fought him, and Arman beat him too. So I can see that. But I like that path that you said just now. Have Moicano and Pimblett fight, and then winner of that could fight Charles Oliveira. The winner of that gets a title shot. And then, you know, Michael Chandler, he can fight an up-and-coming, or Michael Chandler just waits there for Conor McGregor, or Conor McGregor versus Charles Oliveira for a money grab. That's an absolute banger. Oh, damn. You know,
there's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot going on at lightweight.
You know, you just there's a lot there. You did a nice, beautiful spread.
Nick is dropping some dimes of suggestions to talk about.
Oh, Lord. Let's do a couple more. Said, get you out of here. Let's do a couple more. Get you out of here.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, because there's a lot of topics here, but apparently some things have just been announced. He said, "What do you guys think about Max Holloway versus Michael Chandler?" Chandler mentioned it in his call out. I don't mind that matchup. I do think that Chandler needs to, super fights aside, I think it's time for the common man of the lightweight division to get a super fight, rather than the super fighters of the super fight division to continue in their super fights. Eventually you owe a young gun a chance to be in that mix, or you don't move on. I don't know if you want to give a take on Holloway Chandler, but apparently they want to talk about Tyson Paul and Till versus Tommy Fury getting announced today. Damn, Darren Till, Tommy Fury got announced. That's pretty big.
I think if Darren Till is able to knock out Tommy Fury, I think you see Darren Till versus Jake Paul, which would be an interesting fight. And, you know, the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, you know, somebody who's 58 years old, and he just came out and said this. He said he almost died over the summer. He had to do in June. He had to give blood fusion. He lost, I don't know, I think it was 8 pounds. It was a lot of weight before getting the opportunity to fight Jake Paul. Now, for me, when I see that, I'm shocked the commission allowed that to happen, because I'm sure if I told One Championship I almost died, I had to give so much blood transfusion, no way in hell they're going to fucking give me the green card to go fight in mixed martial arts, let alone boxing, even if I was 58 years old. with that being said, I'm happy for Mike Tyson to be able to make that money. I'm happy that he was able to usher in a new thing for boxing and for Netflix to be able to give Netflix to give boxing the opportunity to use that platform, and it was free. But taking a step back, when I look at that for Jake Paul, it's my biggest thing is like, I love Jake Paul. I think what he's doing for boxing is absolutely amazing. But I still believe that there's somebody that's his age that he can fight. That's 7-2 or 10-1 or whatever it may be. But that's not the coach. Tommy Fury, and Tommy Fury beat him. So exactly. Let's go find another guy who's the same level as Tommy Fury and have fight him talking about fighting Canelo. Stop this nonsense. Stop it.
Yeah. I know. I will say, and maybe we'll end it here on this final note. My thoughts on the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight is society is collapsing. It is a shame what we're seeing. I think money is controlling morals more than ever. I think there's certain legends that should be left alone, but money can entice everyone. And I understand Tyson taking the fight, even if he wasn't in great condition, because certain money is just, it sets up your future generations that instead of just you and your kids, you can know that when I'm gone, the ones beyond me are going to be okay as well. And then you also think, you look around your people and you see others struggling around you and you think, God, I could help them. Am I a piece of shit for not accepting a 30 million payday against Jake Paul when I know so-and-so who lives down the street, his mother's struggling? I could easily set him half a meal if I do. You know what I mean? So there's... I don't know. I just think it was a damnation of society, the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. I don't like this the goofiness and the charade of that type of thing. I think Jake Paul should be getting in there with some better names, to be honest with you. But who knows? We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens moving forward. Gamble it against Bertabiev, Jake Paul. Take the 1 in 1,000 chance that you could chin him and actually be considered great. But I don't know. I don't think Jake Paul's a horrible person, though.
No.
He might be. I'm sure there's something in his history that I'm not aware of. I don't watch Jake Paul. But he ain't killed no one. I'm going to save my... you know what I mean? I mean, after Mike Tyson's talking about his blood transfusion, there was a chance he could have. So I really don't know how the commission allowed that. But I'm going to save my judgment for the true evil. You know what I'm saying? Rather than just... we'll leave it there. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Well, Guru, is there anything you want to let the fans know where they can follow you and how they can support you? Because, like I said, a lot of people out there aren't a fan of his content. I love his content. I think it's great. It gives me a good laugh. And I think sometimes that's what people need in life is a good belly laugh. So, Guru, the stage is yours, brother.
Yeah. YouTube, the MMA Guru. That's literally all I got. That's where the hub is for everything. Maybe someday I'll branch out. I should be having a sponsor soon. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But we'll see what goes on. YouTube MMA Guru. And one message to the fans. I am a piece of shit, but my content's really good. I promise my content's really good. So you will see a clip of me saying something. You're like, what the hell did he just say there? Or what did he just say about this guy? And I'm just like, God, I'm sorry, guys. I get caught up in the moment. But try and look beyond how terrible of a person I am and just enjoy the content for what it is, because it is good stuff. I feel like I do put out some good effort, high effort stuff.
I would say it is great content and very, very high effort. Boys, that is our guest, MMA Guru. Check him out on YouTube. Thank you once again for coming on the show. I am your host, Demetrious Johnson, co-host Nick Pappas, Michael Wansover, and our guest, MMA Guru. We will see you guys at the next episode of the MIGHTYcast. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Mighty Recap. And this is part of the episode where we recap everything we just went through or talked about with our guest. And our guest was MMA Guru. The biggest thing, and I know it's very taboo, is when you start talking about people's failed USADA drug test, right? Because we always want to look at it in a perfect world where all the champions or anybody who's, ever stepped foot in octagon has always tested clean and had good USADA results, and that was one of the things that the producers in the MIGHTYcast channel and MMA Guru have brought up. And I think when you look at, John Jones' legacy, if he was retiring now, he's done everything that anybody could in mixed martial arts, defending a light heavyweight championship, became a heavyweight champion, defended both belts, something I never did. You know, I was a flyweight champion, and then I went over to one championship. I became the flyweight champion there. It is 135, so it's 10 pounds more than it is in America. But in America, it would be considered 125, 135 flyweight bantamweight champion. So two different things, but he was able to achieve that. Now, there is that cloud looming over his legacy of the 3 failed USADA tests. That's what the producer, Nick Pappas, brought up into the conversation. Now, what do you do? And when we were talking about the Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones and Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira taking on Magomed Ankalaev, like it's very cut forward, right? Typically 9 out of 10 times when you have a champion and you have an interim champion, it's always those two are deemed to fight. Now, Jon Jones did come on record saying that he is willing to relinquish his world title, heavyweight championship, in order to pursue that fight against Alex Pereira. Now, Dana White came on record saying that he is not going to make that matchup. If we want to see Jon Jones fight again, if Jon Jones wants to fight again, he will fight Tom Aspinall. And I think that's a big W from Dana White, keeping the champions in line and keeping them doing what they're supposed to do. Like, if you're a champion, you're supposed to fight the interim champion or the number one contender in the heavyweight division. Now, if he was a light heavyweight champion, you know, then it would be different. He could fight Alex Pereira, but he's not anymore. And then you also have number one contenders in the light heavyweight division with Magomed Ankalaev, who's waiting for his opportunity to fight Alex Pereira. Now, if Alex Pereira beats Ankalaev and Jon Jones beats Tom Aspinall, then boom, yes, then you do that super fight. But I think at the end of the day, they're trying to capture lightning in a bottle. And here's a kicker. If you have Tom Aspinall fight Jon Jones, and let's say Tom Aspinall beats the brick off Jon Jones, then you have another star that's still young, that's able to continue his journey and his legacy on fighting more people. Or if Jon Jones beats Tom Aspinall, then it's like, of course, Jon Jones beat Tom Aspinall. He's a GOAT. He's a legend. Da-da-da-da. Jon Jones retire, but you still have Tom Aspinall there. So Tom Aspinall's star hasn't really gone. He's still there whether he wins against Jon Jones or if he loses against Jon Jones. So that star is still going to stay shining bright because he's going to continue to fight. And then regardless whatever happens to Jon Jones, he's going to retire. He's 37. He's going to be 38 next July. So regardless, his time here is done. It's not like he can do something more that's going to catapult him to another stratosphere. You get my drift. Then you have, on the other side, you have Alex Pereira. Now, if Alex Pereira just fights Jon Jones and loses, then it's like, okay, well, then Jon Jones retires, and it's okay, you still have Tom Aspinall here, who didn't get the opportunity to fight Jon Jones or beat Jon Jones. And then you also have Ankalaev here, who's like, okay, who am I going to fight next? But if you have Ankalaev fight Alex Pereira, he beats Alex Pereira, then it's boom. Or if Alex Pereira beats, Ankalaev, then it almost elevates Alex Pereira even higher. So there's an interesting battle between this triangle, well, not triangle, but this 4 fights, or what do you want to call it, that we cannot figure out what's the best way to navigate it and what's the best way the fans want to navigate it. If, when you hear the fans talk, they want to see Jon Jones taking on Tom Aspinall. And, Jon Jones says he feels that he's done enough in this sport where he can get what he wants, or give this guy what he wants. And what he wants is Alex Pereira. And he came out and said that he doesn't want nothing to do with Tom Aspinall. Before the fight, he says, I don't want to do business with Tom Aspinall. He's just an asshole, blah, 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 blah. Goes off and says that. And he said that if the UFC wants me to fight again, then I will not fight. I want to fight Alex Pereira. If they want me to fight Tom Aspinall, then I guess this is my retirement fight, and I'm going to ride off in the sunset. So that was the most thing that got me excited about this fight against Jones versus Stipe, was to see what was going to be the aftermath after he beat Stipe, because I knew he was going to beat Stipe. What was going to be the aftermath? Because now we have an unconcluded ending to Jon Jones' story. Does Jon Jones fight Tom Aspinall? Or does Jon Jones ride off in the sunset? Or does Dana White go back on his word and have Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira? That's what makes me more excited about this storyline with Jon Jones. Not that he beat Stipe, about what he wants to do next. Nick Pappas come in. Let me know what you think. What do you think, Nick? Right, because you are a fan, you follow the sport, you do a lot of back work that a lot of people don't realize. Nick Pappas is one of the gentlemen on the Mighty staff team who helps out and makes all the videos nice and sexy for you beautiful viewers. What are your thoughts when it comes to this whole dynamic of the Jones saga, the Alex Pereira saga, Tom Aspinall saga? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like John versus Tom is going to be a massive fight now. And I was trying to look in the weeds of everything, and I'm someone that falls for promo. Like, I'll watch WWE and I fall for everything. Like, it's bad how easy I am to convince. And so even before the Stipe fight, I was like, well, these promos are looking good. Stipe's a firefighter. He's got some muscles. And so I buy everything. And part of me is wondering if John was just kind of orchestrating this whole thing with Aspinall. And I can't really work my head around it. Part of me thinks it was a work. Part of me thinks that's just who he is. But I think that John versus Tom is one of the biggest fights the UFC can make right now. I think that it's probably actually the biggest fight they can make right now. I think if Alex goes out there and sparks Ankalaev, then you have Tom and John maybe fight International Fight Week. In July, you have Alex Pereira front row. It doesn't get bigger than that for the UFC right now if he takes on the winner. So that's kind of how I hope everything plays out, but I'm curious to see what happens. What do you think, DJ?
I mean, I like that. I like that game plan. It's all going to be up to, is Dana going to keep his word, saying that if Jones was to fight again, he has to fight Tom Aspinall, or does Dana, go back and have him fight Jones versus Alex Pereira? But I like that. Now, we already asked Guru. He is, he has a strong community. What is your thoughts on what deems somebody in that GOAT status?
I try not to look at it as a GOAT status thing. I think there's just so many different aspects, right? Like you versus John Jones, you're completely different fighters, and it's hard to even compare you two because you're just opposite ends of the spectrum. So I kind of looking at it more as a Mount Rushmore. I never try to look at it as a GOAT status, like you, GSP, Anderson, John, Khabib. It's like, I don't necessarily understand why we have to have a GOAT. Why does there has to be the one guy that is the best, where I think there's so many different guys that bring things to the table. It's the same debate as LeBron versus Jordan. Who's the best? Who's the best? Who's the best? I just don't think you can really make that argument that there's one guy. And I think with the UFC right now, those arguments are so close. I mean, John's record stands alone in terms of how impressive it is. He's never lost a fight. I mean, the 12-6 with Hamill, that should get overturned at this point, but he has those steroid tests, and you can't get past that. Now, yes, most people were probably doing steroids that he was facing in that era. I mean, Chael Sonnen, right? He's come out and said, I was on the juice, but I knew he was on the juice too. But I try to not look at a GOAT argument. I try to look at it more as a Mount Rushmore, because I just think it's way too hard to pick one guy in this sport. I don't actually think that there is a definitive GOAT right now.
Ooh, I like that. I like how you're because I feel the same way. It's very hard. Obviously, I feel like John Jones is one of the greatest of all time. I feel like GSP was one of the greatest of all time. I think Anderson Silva is one of the greatest of all time. I mean, the things that those guys have done in their career, especially Anderson Silva and GSP, even myself, John Jones, even Khabib, and the list could go on. You didn't have a guy like Ilia Topuria who's starting to make his claim. He's just getting started. He's super young. I mean, the list just goes on. And I actually kind of like that. I think from now on, people say, who's my GOAT? And I was like, I can't just pick one person because everybody's done something. I think the Mount Rushmore is a good way to answer, because mixed martial arts is a very intriguing sport, because everybody has different skill set, where you have, a guy like LeBron James or Michael Jordan. Yes, they're only playing basketball, but it's two different time eras, and they're both good at two different things, right? I mean, LeBron James has been, I think he's probably one of the longest reigning players to play in the league of basketball, right? I mean, he's playing with his son, for God's sake, right? So, I mean, that right there can defy all odds over Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan was able to make the team special, where Michael Jordan never jumped from team to team to team. He was with him, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and the whole squad. So I can see that, but I like that GOAT. I like that. Instead of changing the GOAT conversation to be just particular one person, make it more about a bunch of individuals in that time frame, essentially. Well, I think now it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Do they make the Tom versus Jon Jones, or Tom versus I don't know who else, or Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira? I mean, only time is going to tell. And then, you know, I'll be kind of curious to see where Michael Chandler goes from next. I hope he finally gets that Conor McGregor fight, because he waited on the shelf for a very, very long time, but he's always exciting to watch. And then Charles Oliveira, I'm excited to see what he does next. I mean, he's got a bright future. I think he's going to be, you know, eventually slowing down soon, because he's been in the UFC for I don't know how long. He's been in there for a very, very, very long time. Forever, yeah. I feel like it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Max Holloway too, right? He's been there forever. I'm worried that my gut tells me we will not get the Jones fight versus Aspinall. My gut tells me we probably
we're
won't
still there,
it.
huh? We're still there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, when have the UFC ever paid someone the big money besides Conor? You know, it's like, I don't see it happening. I mean, even when Ngannou was still here, you know, Dana was saying, oh, Jones is afraid to fight Ngannou. And then the second Ngannou leaves, oh, you know, Ngannou is scared to fight. It's like, what? Which one is it? So I'd be surprised if it happens. And I think Jon, he doesn't need to take the fight. I mean, he's had an amazing, amazing career. I hope he takes it. But I would be surprised if they really paid that payday that Jon would want for that fight.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, how much is enough? You know, like, that's always the kicker, right? How much is enough? Is he asked for 20 million, 30 million plus pay-per-view in the back end? I mean, it's once again, we will never know. But Tom Aspinall said he did talk to the UFC after the event, and he said all good news. So hopefully we get Tom Aspinall on the MIGHTYcast and talk to him to see where his head's at. And not just to talk about the Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, just get to know Tom Aspinall as a person, as a fighter. He's got a great YouTube. And to ask him, like, his journey and what's his thought, and being a backup fighter. I've never had the opportunity to be a backup fighter. Thank God. And I'll be kind of curious to get his take on that. Like, did you go through a full training camp? You know, did you have to diet, etc.? Were you still compensated? Did you get your show money? Like, how does all that work? That's something I've never got to be able to talk to an athlete about that. So, but all in all, I think MMA Guru makes a lot of good points. I think he's, my opinion, I think he's important in the community of mixed martial arts. A lot of people don't like him. I enjoy him because he says things that kind of rub people the wrong way. And, you know, it is what it is. But the one thing I will say I was thinking about when I was at the gym is that here's the biggest thing. The UFC doesn't need Jon Jones. The UFC doesn't need Conor McGregor. And the reason why I say that, and that's no disrespect, the UFC didn't need me. And I'm one of the greatest of all time that people are going to say. Here's the reason why I say that is because the UFC is such a big brand that Jon Jones, before he tore his pec or before he even fought Tsarukyan, he took, like, I think 2 to 3 years off, right? Because he defended his belt. He's like, I'm going to put some weight on. And the UFC still kept on going, and nobody batted an eye. They didn't miss Jon Jones. And they were still able to make a lot of fucking money. Conor McGregor hasn't fought in, I don't know, 2-3 years, and the UFC is becoming more profitable every single year, meaning that the UFC does a good job of marketing the new fighters that are coming. You got Ian Garry, Shavkat, you got ilia topuria, you still got Max Holloway, you still got Izzy Adesanya, you still have all these fighters. Eventually, Jon Jones is going to retire. Izzy's going to retire. Stipe just retired. DC retired. You're having this new guard where the UFC is such a mega big brand that people are always going to tune in just to watch UFC because it's the premier brand of mixed martial arts here in North America. So I feel that the UFC can be like, okay, you don't want to fight Tom Aspinall? No worries. Jon Jones, you retire. Alex Pereira, you're fighting Ankalaev. Tom Aspinall, we're going to find you a number one contender you're going to fight. Jon Jones rides on the sunset, and people will talk about how great he was and him being one of the greatest of all time. I think that's a very possible thing, and I think people, the UFC, when they look at their books, they're still going to be making a shitload of money. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please let us know in the comments down below what you guys want to see next. Do you want to see Jon Jones taking on Tom Aspinall, or are you guys okay with Jon Jones getting what he wants, which is the Alex Pereira fight? Or do you guys want, like Nick said, keep the integrity of the sport, have the champion fight the interim champion, and then Alex Pereira taking on the normal contender, which is right now, according to what the UFC said, is Magomed Ankalaev. Let us know in the comments down below, and make sure you guys go give our boy MMA Guru a subscribe, follow, like on his channel. He's busting out amazing content for you beautiful people, and you guys support him. I am your host, Demetrious Johnson. That is one of the editors, co-hosts of this show, Nick Pappas. As always, we'll see you guys at the next episode of the MIGHTYcast.